All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to the stream. Hopefully you guys are having a fantastic Friday. Today it's officially the end of the week, and we're about to start the stream. We're about to kick on another Fortnite stream. The notifications just went out, so that's looking good. I'm just gonna go ahead and wait for the confirmations here that we can go ahead and start up on this official tourney. But welcome to the stream. What's up, Matt Grossman? What's up, Logan? Liam Productions. This is Nicholas, Leah, Meme, Apollo Rave, Wake. Welcome to the stream. Visual Gamer here today. Richard, Elijah, Fakey, Tobias, Pigman. Welcome, Fake Assassin. Yo, ZLY. What's up, Basket Dude? What's up, Nonstop? Aaron, Caleb, Savage, Lumber, Mason, your boy. Welcome to the stream, guys. I appreciate you all coming in. You guys are all litty. But for real, guys, thank you very much for kicking it. Welcome to the stream. Today, I'm going to be participating in the first official Fortnite solo tournament. It's a YouTuber invitational tournament for Fortnite. It's going to be all solos, and I'm going to be competing against a ton of other YouTubers, which is going to be incredibly cool. So let me go ahead and actually, my webcam's a little bit off here. Just going to go ahead and resize that. All right, that looks good. So yeah, I'm going to be participating in the solo event. It's going to be starting at 4 o'clock Eastern time, which is in approximately 12 minutes. I just wanted to go ahead and be live a little bit before the event actually started, so we can kind of be here, collect some viewership, and then see where we can kind of go from there. What's up, Jason Kennedy? Welcome to the stream. The chat is going incredibly fast. What's up, Cub, Skylander, Hoggy, Whiteosaurus? Welcome to the stream. How you guys doing today? Whew. You guys are amazing. Thank you very much for tuning out to the stream. I really, really do appreciate it. If you guys are enjoying the stream, or if you think you're going to enjoy the stream, make sure you do drop a like. I would really appreciate it. So yeah, pretty much what we're waiting for at this point is we're going to wait for the codes to actually be given to us here for this tournament. So we're going to be entering in a very specific code, and then we're going to be able to go live from there. I bet you want to read this. What's up, Debbie? Welcome to the stream. Of course I'm going to read it. Of course I'm going to read it. Let me go ahead and launch up Fortnite here for myself. Kind of get myself going. What is this invitational? So yeah, it's a YouTuber invitational tournament.
I'm mad at Bears. He beat me to the stream. Disappointed. That's supposed to be my thing.
Supposed to be your thing. I feel you, bro.
Damn you, Bears.
Damn you, Bears. Yo, King of the Bears. How dare you? How dare you do that, King of the Bears? But yo, so legend. I appreciate the $5, dude. You're an absolute legend. Definitely means a lot. Thank you very much for the 5. I'm going to have to go ahead and update that. But what's up, Chrome? What's up, Colby? So the way this invitational is going to work is it's a custom server. So it's we're going to be given access to a custom server. We're going to be given a code to enter. Once we enter in that code in the custom matchmaking option, I can show you guys here on Fortnite in just a second. Then we're going to be able to go ahead and actually kick off this tournament so to get things going. Oh, what's up, Nick? What's up, Pistol? What's up, Alfredo? I'm not going to lie, guys. I'm a little bit nervous. I'm a little bit nervous today. So actually, let me go ahead and show you guys my Fortnite screen right now. I'm assuming you guys can see it. Hopefully, there's no issues here. Let me go ahead and actually, I think there's anything wrong with my settings. My settings should all be fine, obviously. But right down here, you guys see this custom matchmaking button. I'm gonna enter in use for private matches, tournaments, or other custom games. They're gonna give us a code. We're gonna enter it into there, and then we're actually gonna go ahead and actually start up the game. So this is for YouTubers only, so I won't be able to give this code out to anybody else. But that's sort of how that's gonna work. Yeah, so there's gonna be split up into 2 servers, US and EU. So that's kind of how it's gonna work. What's up, Kyle? What's up, Recon? What's up, Tyreek and Abby? Welcome to the stream. I'm so mad, but my PS4 Plus went away and I can't play Fortnite. That kind of sucks, man. That sucks. What's up, Chris? What's up, OPJ? What's up, Ashton and Joe? What's up, Faber? Jesus. What's up, Sharon? How you doing? Welcome to the stream. So yeah, we just got another like 10 minutes to chill here for a little bit.
As fuck, boy.
Also, true.
I can't afford this donation as Bitcoin has fallen $4,000 in the past day. Feels bad, man.
Yo, what's up, Postal Bike? Welcome to the stream. But Bear, thank you very much for the $1.11. I appreciate that. He said, I can't afford this donation as Bitcoin has fallen $4,000. I did not know that. I did not know that. That's actually a little crazy. I thought it was like skyrocketing. I didn't think it was actually going to go down. Wait, so how does this work, Prentice? Is it solo, duos, or squads? This is going to be an entirely solo tournament. Entirely solo tournament. So each individual YouTuber will be given a code whether or not we're based in the US or whether or not we're based in EU and Europe, and then we're going to join on those respective servers. So I think I'm going to have to make sure. I think just to make sure that my region is set correctly. It's underneath game, right, or something like that. Yeah, matchmaking region: North America, Europe, Brazil. Yeah, North America, and I just click apply. All right, yeah. So that's how that's gonna work. What's up, Matt Goat? How you doing today, bud? Welcome to the stream. What's up, lol? I posted my final red RC response. Yo, nice, man. Nice. So yeah, I got the Discord open on my phone right here. We're literally just waiting for the code. What did Bitcoin do? Apparently it dropped 4,000 according to King of the Bears, and he's pretty involved with that sort of thing. I had to stop in. I'm at work right now, brother. Wish you the best of luck with this stream. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. What's up, Firebird? What's up, Tybear? What's up, Shannon? What's up, Jack? If you guys are enjoying the live stream, definitely make sure you drop a like. I would appreciate it. What's up, Zanib? Oh, hold on. Are the bots in here? I actually don't even know. Oh, hold on. The bot crashed. Yeah, the bot had a fatal error. My bad, guys. I don't know what's happening with the bot. Give me a quick second. I think I just got to go ahead and restart it here. Do that really quickly. What's up, Sheila? How you doing? What's up, Lonely Survivor? What's new? What's good, Beasting Dog? What's up, Firebird? I kind of wish I had like been on a little bit earlier so I could like get a couple practice games in, but I didn't. I didn't plan ahead well enough. Hold on. Why wasn't I invited to this invitational? I feel so irrelevant. It's for people who are partnered with either Epic Games themselves or through Pixely or through some other outlet. Yeah, so we're literally just waiting for them to type in this code, which is gonna happen here pretty soon. I'm trying to figure out what I should do right now, though. I feel like I gotta warm myself up. How should I? I don't know. I can't join into a game because the game would probably, if I were to join into a solo right now, the game would probably bleed over 7 minutes unless I died like instantly. But I need to like help with. I don't know what to do right now. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I know what I'm gonna do. Actually, I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this. Aim booster. What's up, Darkski? How you doing today, man? To help improve my aim. Whoa! Yikes! I haven't done this in a while. What's up, Sharon? How you doing today, Cub Scout? Welcome to the stream. Let me go ahead and mute this, actually. How do I mute this down? I just go ahead and mute it right there. Good luck. Yo, thank you, Hamster. I appreciate that, man. But yeah, so this is going to be starting, the actual game is going to be starting at 4 o'clock, so in approximately 6 minutes. In 6 minutes, they're going to at all of us in the Discord. They're all going to give us the code, and we're just going to enter it in. So yeah, that's sort of how this is going to go. Right now, I'm just kind of warming up. Trying to get my aim on point. Ah, man. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of big YouTubers in this tournament. I don't know if you guys knew, but like Noah J is going to be in here. Ali A is going to be participating in this tournament. He's going to be on the EU side. So like I won't obviously be playing up against him, but Ali A is going to be in here. Noah's going to be in here. Typical Gamer, Vicstar. Trying to think of some other people that are going to be in this. Some of the big people that you guys might know. Mr. Fruit. He's more of a Destiny guy, I'm pretty sure, though. Trying to think of anybody else that I can remember from the Discord. Avery's going to be in here. Yeah, I'm going to have to go up against Avery. That's going to suck. What's up, Ricky? How you doing today? What's up? Yo, Mr. Gameplays. What's good, brother? Welcome to the stream. Noah just said in the Discord, if any of you guys kill me, I'm dropping a diss track. Oh, God. That's not good. Yeah, Noah's actually pretty good at Fortnite too. And this is the thing too, when you're playing in an invitational like this, like of course, like we're not like competitive players, so this is going to be more so like a fun thing than anything else. But the interesting thing about this is just like, it's just the simple fact that like obviously it's not going to be as easy as like most solo matches would otherwise be. You know what I'm saying? Because like the skill gap won't be as wide. Like everybody's going to have like, you know, all these people have played Fortnite before. They're all going to have decent aim. So more than likely we'll this will be interesting. If we actually end up winning one of these games, it's gonna be pretty cool. So yeah, there's gonna be multiple games running between 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock. So I think they're gonna be running like multiple solo matches for approximately 2 hours. Only one solo match is gonna be happening at a time. And so once one solo match ends, they're gonna be starting up another one. That's how that's sort of gonna work. What's up, Hector Hernandez? What's up, Skid? Welcome to the stream. What's up, Games for Real? So yeah, this is going to be starting in approximately 6 minutes here. That's sort of how that's going to work. So yeah, it's gonna be mostly just a fun little tournament, guys, to get things going, just to have some fun. Right now, I'm just, I don't know, just messing around, warming up. Obviously, you want to do well. Like, I'm not saying I'm not going to try. So here's the thing, too. Since there's only going to be one match going on at a time, once I die in this tournament, we're going to be able to spectate whatever players we want, which is going to be kind of cool. We'll be on this custom server where I can spectate literally whoever. So what I'm going to do is I'll just spectate somebody else who's, you know, who's playing. And then we'll just kind of have some fun casting the gameplay from their perspective. Because there's only one match going on at a time, there's no point in me leaving the match. I might as well show you guys, like, give you guys a little bit of entertainment watching that person, you know? That's sort of my idea. But yeah, I really hope you guys will enjoy watching this. This is going to be pretty fun. So the stream will be going on for a little while. Once the tournament ends, I don't know if I'll be starting up another stream or
track on you. #exposure grin.
Yeah, for real. Who said that? Yo, Collision, thank you very much for the $2 donation. I do appreciate that, man. Alright, so they said we'll be starting in just a few minutes. Stand by for codes after 4 p.m. So that's what we're waiting for. What's up, Caleb? What's up, Abby? What's up, Peanut Man? Welcome to the stream. What's up, your boy? You just got here? Yo, welcome to the stream, my brother. Welcome to the stream, man. Warming up my aim here. I haven't had any warm-up games. I wish I had. Kind of sucks, but it is what it is. It's kind of nice that I can compete right from my home too. It's not like, or right from my my setup. It's not like I'm actually going to like an event. I don't know. It kind of makes it cooler, more chill, more laid back. There's no main stage. There's no official stream for this either. But yo, Collision, I do appreciate that too, man. Can we get a Collision spam in the chat, guys? The dude supports me like crazy. I really do appreciate it, my brother. Oh, shoot. Whole thing just lagged. What's up, Parker? How you doing today, man? What's up, Wild? It's bugging out? What do you mean it's bugging out, man? This is going to be pretty fun. Ah, what's up, James? How you doing today, Colton? What's up, Abby? Play BO3? Nah. Nah. It's going to be pretty cool. I wonder how many other YouTubers are going to be live streaming this. I'm kind of curious. It'd be kind of interesting to see who gets in the top finish. I'm kind of thinking about how I want to play it when I first spawn in. What are you guys thinking? Should I go to like a heavily populated area, like one of the common first drop spots? I'm thinking not, right? I'm thinking I should probably go somewhere else.
You got this, baby.
I'm thinking
Have fun, babe. #KRNG winking face.
That's got to be Divine. 100%. That's got to be Divine. I'm guessing. Or it's Griffin. The only people that would bring up Carnage in their donation message. I think it was a super chat. So maybe, I don't know. Divine and Griffin usually don't donate using super chat. I don't know. I'll look at that donation here in just a second to thank whoever just donated. Donations coming in like mad, man. What's up, Ricky? How you doing today, bud? Oh, it was Wake. Ha! Never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about. Yo, Wake, thank you very much for the dono, brother. I do appreciate that. All right, it's 4 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen. It is officially 4 o'clock. So let's get this going. Let's go ahead and get this going. All right. What's up, Johnny? How you doing today? Yo, so thank you very much, Wake, for the £2 super chat. I appreciate that, brother. I'm hoping this code isn't like extremely long. So maybe I'll have to like copy and paste it, or maybe not. I'm not really sure. All right, we were given the first codes, guys. Let's go ahead and load up in this game. Make sure I'm not showing anything. All right, I'm not. And then I load up on solo. Okay. I think I just loaded in. I don't actually know if I can switch back over to the scene yet, so I'm going to wait until I'm actually in the game before I switch over to my scene. says waiting for one more player. I've already got the code entered in, so I'm just going to sit here and wait. What is this event? So it's a YouTuber invitational event, Pack-a-Puncher. So it's people who were, like, I think, partnered with, like, Pixley, which is a YouTuber or a social media influencer program. There's 25 players connected right now. All right, cool, cool, cool. 26 players connected. I think I can switch back over to the scene now. I don't think I have to stop anything. But yo, Pack, I appreciate you coming to the stream, brother. You're an absolute legend. I'm gonna switch back over because I don't think I'm not showing anything sensitive at this point. As long as I don't click on the custom matchmaking button, it should be fine. What's up, Millie? How you doing today? Welcome to the stream. So yeah, that's gonna be the first official YouTuber invitational tournament. I'm partnered with Pixley, so they were actually able to invite me to participate in this tournament, which is pretty cool. It's PC only. And it's just going to be a ton of YouTubers all kind of battling it out, EU and NA, which is going to be pretty fun. So hopefully this will be a good time. And it's going to be entirely solos, guys, entirely solos. So there's currently 32 players connected as of right now to NA, 34 players connected, and I don't know exactly when they're going to start it. There's a countdown timer to show when the match is going to start, but it's going down kind of slow. I don't know. What's up, Millie? What's up, Mr. Chocolate Bar? Yo, Rainman Breeze, I appreciate the $1, bro. You're an absolute legend. Thank you very much for the support. I really hope I didn't mistype it. Yeah, you just got to click play afterwards. Yeah. Wait, like, are you, like, is your YouTube network Pixley? No, so Pixley is like a YouTube influencer program. So like they're a social media influencer program. So they work with individual creators to partner with mobile, or to partner with PC and mobile app developers. Or advertisers, I guess I should say. And so Pixley is just an influencer program. They help connect the actual creators themselves to companies that want to advertise. So Pixley has a relationship with Epic Games, who made Fortnite. And I'm a YouTuber. Since I already had a relationship with Pixley, Pixley reaches out to me because I'm partnered with them. And they say, hey, you know, we're partnered with Epic Games now. You want to do this promotional thing for Fortnite? And I was like, yeah, sure. So that's how I was invited to that. That's how that sort of works. What's up, Games for Real? How you doing today, man? What's up, Logan? Damn, I should have hit up Epic Games. Yo, Custom, bro. Custom. I'm kind of glad you didn't, man. Because to be honest with you, I don't really want to go up against you because I've watched you play, and you're actually kind of a good player. All right, we're loading into this. Who is this? Who's this man right here? All right, so we're in, ladies and gentlemen. This is the solo. One of the first solo games. Would it be smart to contact Pixley or not? No, 100%, bro. I would. Wait, there's only 39 people in this first match. There's only 39 people. That's weird. What the hell? Are you using a controller plugged into your PC? No, I'm using keyboard and mouse, man. I don't know why no music's playing anymore. There's only 39 people in this match. What the frick, dude? Alright, let's go to get this started. I don't know where to drop. I'm kind of nervous. I'm going to wait to see where other people drop. Alright, like everybody's getting out instantly. I'm going to wait a little bit. I'm going to wait. What's up, Darren Hudson? How you doing today, man? I'm going to go all the way to Greasy Grove. See if I can get some good loot out there. Paula Ray. He's Carnage Keyboard? Hell yeah, bro. We're Carnage Keyboard. Carnage Keyboard for the win, my man. So there's only 39 people in this match. That actually kind of... Huh. Hopefully that's not too weird. Yeah, so the first matches have started. Please wait until the match concludes before we can start the next one. So that's how that's going to work. He's already lost. He's already lost. Guys, I'm already screwed. I'm kind of thinking about going for these houses right here. That might be what I do, and then I kind of run back there later. We'll kind of go from there, maybe. So yeah, once we die, we are going to be spectating. We are allowed to. Whoa! No, lag. Okay, good. Holy. So once we die, we are allowed to spectate other players, which is going to be really cool. So once I die, we're going to go ahead and spectate, like, I don't know, whoever else we can find. Did somebody else seriously land here? I don't think so. Could have sworn I just heard somebody, though. Did you guys hear that, too? I don't know, I'm only slightly weirded out. Alright, cool. Let's go ahead and grab that wood. Let's go ahead and break up into here. Go grab this. Alright, so who's died yet? Oh, eliminated Avery. So, yo, someone just killed Avery. Oh, no. Avery's down, man. He's dead. Yo, Avery, feel sad, brother. Feel sad. Three people already died. Yeah, you guys can keep your eyes on the... Oh, no. You guys can't see the kill feed because of my freaking overlay. Yo, I apologize for that, guys. I apologize for that. R.I.P. Avery. Avery died. So I'll just have to keep you guys updated on who dies. Ladrin. Oh, yo, Noah just got a kill. Noah just got a kill. Okay, okay. I'm gonna push up here. Actually, we'll kind of go this way. Oh yeah, you guys can kind of see people's names. Never mind. You guys can kind of see people's names. This is gonna be such a weird game though, cause like, it'll be such a weird game because we won't really be able to. It's gonna be so slow right off the bat, so we're really gonna have to keep our eyes peeled. Got a little bit of lag there. What's up, Angel of Darkness? Good luck, thank you. Henis, play like a little, play a little passive. Yeah, I probably should, to be honest with you. In there, just some shotgun ammo. Go ahead and take that. I wonder if in this, when you spectate, if you can, since you can see where every player is, we should get Avery in a Discord right now and be like, yo, since he's dead, just be like, yo, Avery, spectate everybody and tell me where they are. That's what we should low-key be doing. RIP the Bush Buddies? Yeah, right, exactly. We have a shield, though, which is kind of nice. You have a decent amount of loot. Yo, Izzy gone crazy. Yo, wait, Summit's in here? Oh, no, dude. Summit's in this match, man. That kind of sucks. What's up, Kryson? How you doing today? Katie Face, welcome to the stream. There's 26 people eliminated. So, like, 10 people, a little more than 10 people have already been eliminated. But, yo, Summit's in here. I think Adrian's in here, too. Or Adrian, the Twitch streamer. Who's in this game, Hennis? A lot of YouTubers, man. Noah's in here. Avery died. Summit 1G's in here. I don't know. There's some big names in here. It's kind of cool. I'm kind of worried about Summit, though, not going to lie. Do I want that scoped AR? Just as something else to have, I guess. So what I'm gonna do? Go ahead and do that. We'll obviously pick up that ammo as well. All right, yeah. No harm in actually getting ourselves looted up. What's up, Greg? How you doing today, dude? Yeah. So this is kind of this is the tournament for sure, boys. For sure, for sure. I might as well keep heading north to Pleasant Park. That's probably where we're gonna start running into our very first gunfight, if I were to guess. Whoa. Dude, I swear, if I get any sort of that lag, like, I could really use some medkits right now. I'm a little bit disappointed that I don't have any of those. You have bandages, that's not too bad. And I only have a white AR, too, which really, really sucks. Dang, I want to do this? Yeah. Oh, Pac, well, I know you play on console, too. It is a PC-only thing. You can, like, plug in a controller to your PC, but you gotta have Fortnite on the PC. Yo, there's a drop right there. That's extremely tempting. I kind of want to go for that. This seems intense. Get first place, dude. Yeah. If I get first place, man, trust me. I'm going to be freaking the hell out. Do you guys see anybody else around here? Oh, yo, I see somebody. That's somebody right there. I don't think they saw me up here, though. You guys see that? You guys see that person? They're going right for the drop. This person down here. I don't know who it is. Try to see if we can kind of scope from behind him. Let's go. Stone Mountain 64, baby. Yeah. Stone Mountain. I'm sorry, brother. It's nothing personal, man. Oh, God. The lag on this server, bro. It's crazy. All right. What did this guy have? Yo, Stone Mountain. I love you, dude. I'm pretty sure you're subbed to my channel. What's up, my man? What's good? What's good? All right. Hold on. Let's build around this. Okay. You know what? That's good enough. What are we going to get here? What are we going to get? Oh, I'll definitely take that. Are you freaking kidding me, man? That kind of sucks. Okay, let's kind of get back up there. Yo, Stone Mountain. Dude, you're playing with Noah J. What? Yeah, I know, right, dude? Yo, isn't that crazy, Joesmos, bro? Alright, we got a decent amount of supplies right now, so I think we're going to be okay. I'm not really pissed with the AR that we have. He didn't have a better AR, did he? What's up, Baba Ops? How you doing, man? I should really stick to the high ground, I think. I'm going to continue pushing up this way. 15 people left. I gotta stop looking at chat, though. I gotta, like, legitimately just only focus on playing the game. Imagine if somebody gets a bush and that's... Oh, there's somebody up there. Shoot, dude, are you freaking serious? You guys see that guy all the way up there? Dang, talk about having a height advantage, man. Alright, I don't exactly know how I want to challenge this, because I should not be... Maybe if I just stick really close to the edge of the mountain, and I kind of go around. Maybe I do want to try to build up, try to go and get him. I don't know, what are you guys thinking? Someone just took out a tree out there. Where did this guy go? Was he further up? Guess that could be him all the way down there. I'm heading in the wrong direction. I gotta go back this way. That means so does this guy. Some sort of fight. Shoot. I am sad. Just killed me. Dang, feels sad, man. Feels sad. Oh no, Vicstar just got... Wait, Vicstar was on the EU server? What? Oh, we can't spectate other players. Alright, so we gotta spectate this guy. Damn, yo, can I get a rip in the chat, guys? Can I get a rip in the chat? Yo, what's up, Early King? What's up, Catty Face? Nah, how you die? He just got right from behind me, man. Oh, he had a bush, too. That's actually funny. Alright, he's top 11 right now. We got 1 kill. That's not too bad. That was definitely a nice run. I told Noah to destroy you. Alright, hold on. Let's see what I am stat does. What if he ends up... You know, honestly, if he kills me and he ends up winning the game, I'm gonna be cool with that, you know? It's just gonna kind of be like, alright, I can accept that. So who is it? I've never heard of this. I'm stat guy? Or maybe I am 5 tat? Does he have 5 tats? I don't know. Let's see what he's able to do, though. He's got to run to the safe zone. So he must have come right up from behind me. I wonder, I do wonder if he was that same guy from earlier, though. Yo, where's Plushing? What's up, man? Parkour, bro. Parkour. Alright, let's see what this guy does. Spectate Pickaxle. I can't switch to any other players, guys. I can, like, view match stats, obviously. But I can report I could report him. You guys think... He killed me. He must be hacking. What's up, Nate Weber? But yeah, for some reason, I wish I could, like, switch to spectate other people, but I can't right now. I can't, but let's see how this guy does. Let's see how this guy does. I mean, what's up? Yo, what's up, Jason? I'm level 47. I'm much gooder. Haha. ProHype, tell everyone in Discord I said hi. Yo. Tell everyone in the Discord I said hi. Yeah, I will. There's 10 left in NA right now. So I wonder if this guy's actually, like, really good. Oh, for Lanchy. Oh, wait, is that Lachlan? Is that Lachlan, the YouTuber? Is that how you pronounce his name? Lachan? Lachlan? Oh, Lachlan? Is that how you pronounce him? I don't know. This guy's in a weird position right now, though. I'm telling you, Hennis, just close the chat? Nah. I'm not playing right now. I'm just spectating. I want to keep the chat open just because it's fun to interact. I would have died there either way, more than likely. Yo, what's good, Violet Ninja? Welcome to the stream. How you doing? All right, 9 people left. Damn, the ending of these matches get kind of intense. Gonna lie. Do I have music going? Where's my music? My music just poop on me? Oh, it was an ad.
This is a Chucky Beat production.
Of course it was an ad. What's up, Mark? How you doing today, bud? Yo, what's good, Cody? Pronounce it like Lachlan? Oh, okay, it's Lachlan. All right. What's up, Tegan? What's up, Abby? Yo, this music's just gonna make everything like 10 times more intense. Lachlan is how you said? All right. Oh, yo, there's a guy. Oh. Let's see if he Why is he doing this? Oh, damn. He died. Alright, so we're now on solo Nugsel. I don't even know who that guy is. Oh, so Daquan got him. Alright, so now it's top 6. Shoosh. Yo, this guy's got a nice little base right here. He's not in the safe zone, though. He's just barely not in the safe zone. So he's going to have to expand out a little bit. He could just build a little bit farther down here. I think that's what he's going to do. Yo, what's good, Rain Breeze? I wonder who the winner of the match is going to be. Who do you guys think? Who do you guys think the winner of the match is going to be? I don't even know who's left. I wish I could see, like... I wish I could press tab and bring up, like, a player list. Don't fail? Yo, I'm not playing anymore. We're spectating this guy. We're hoping this guy doesn't fail now. There's a base right there. There's somebody in that base. Oh, he just eliminated Noah! No, Noah went down. What's up? What's up, the Breeze? How you doing today? Yo, R.I.P. Noah, man. Noah had a lot of good stuff. Shoot. Feels sad, Noah. Feels sad. Alright, it's top 5 now. Noah J just died. R.I.P. Noah, man. Shoot, dude. Oh, shoot. This guy, he just got sniped. He most likely saw the shot. Yeah, he did. What's up, BO3 Basketball? How you doing today, man? What is this structure that he just made? Huh, that's a really... Never seen somebody use those before. What's up, Lucas? How you doing today? What's up, Craig? Alright, it's top 4 right now. So what did we die? Was it top 11? Were we top 11 when we died? I think. Had us move your face cam so we can see the kill feed. I can't right now, bro. That's the thing. I can't move my... Actually, you know what? I think I can. I'm just going to have to alt-tab out of this for a second. I think I can update... You guys are just going to have to give me a second, because I have to update the PSD. I have to update the actual overlay itself. So give me a quick second. I can do that here in like 30 seconds. On casting. I just really hope nobody dies while I'm doing this. I don't want to miss any of the action. Which overlay is it? I think it's overlay 2. It is overlay 2. Yo, what's good, Unlucky? How you doing today? Alright, I'm just going to take... I'm just going to do all of that. Save. PNG. Okay. Now that we've done that, I can exit out of that. And then I can just hide YouTube like count, sponsor count, and sub count. Alright, there we go, guys. Now you guys should be able to see the kill feed and everything. Everything should be a lot cleaner now. Just see my face cam. Yo, what's good, Mimi? What's up, Games for Real? What's up, Beast John? As long as the guy... Type in the Discord. The guy who killed me wins, I'm happy. You and Noah are spectating the same guy? Yeah. Yeah, well, because I was watching this guy when he killed Noah. OP is still alive? Oh, is he really? Yeah. What's up, Christian? What's up, Games for Real? Yeah, games are going to be finishing up shortly. So after this game finishes, they're going to start up another game. And we'll get going with another one. The 5 stat is also watching this guy? Oh, okay, cool, cool, cool. I don't even know who that guy is. I'm gonna learn about so many other YouTubers I'll have to hit up after this. What's up, Nate Weber? You got the next game if there is one? I don't know, dude. I'm not crazy good at Fortnite. I'm like half decent. Nothing insane. What's up, Joe Mamba? What's up, Anthony? Get this music going. Hedis, I'm pretty sure your face cam itself covers the kill feed. No, it doesn't. Can you say my name? What's up, Manny Clark? Who is this Daquan guy? Like, who is he? Stat 5 has a cool beard? Alright. I wish Storman was in this. He'd be NA actually. Oh god, I get absolutely destroyed. It wouldn't even be funny. What's up, Unlucky? You got the next battle? All right, we got this. I wonder why Scissors isn't in this. Yeah, sure. I would have definitely expected Scissors to be in this event. All right, this guy's in the safe zone. I wonder if that other guy has to move. Be careful peeking that, bro. I wonder how good this guy's aim is. What's the kill feed? So the kill feed's going to be right sort of in the lower left-hand corner of the screen. So that's going to show who kills who once somebody dies. There's 3 people left. We had 1 kill. I wonder how many kills this guy got. What's up, Troller? You should definitely be able to choose who you spectate. I know. I kind of wish they could do that. But obviously, like, it's still like they're still running underneath like a normal solo mode. Okay, yeah, that guy's right down there. If he gets this sniper shot, dude, that would be insane. Gotta see this. Yo, is he gone crazy? Yo, what's good? Welcome to the stream. Yo, I was just DMing you earlier or the other day. Yo, how'd your match go, bro? How well did you do? I died so fast already in my life. Yo, Izzy, let me go ahead and give you a mod here real quick. I just almost put you in a timeout by accident. All right, yeah, I just modded you. But yo, welcome to the stream, dude. All right, yo, this guy. Oh, this guy's in a perfect position. This is such an interesting strat. I've never seen somebody use these like pyramid structures in a base before. I've never seen this. But yo, Izzy, what up? Thanks for coming out to the stream. I appreciate that. But yeah, I think I was like top 11 or something like that. I played really passive. I ended up getting 1 kill before I got just absolutely demolished. Oh, he's right there. No, don't. Ooh, ooh. Oh yeah, he's trying to snipe. He's trying to snipe, boys. Here we go. Here we go. That's what I love, bro. That's what I love about this. That's so tempting. He's got to be thinking about going for that. He has to be. Oh, he actually is going to go for it. He's going to get anything good? Oh, nothing. Oh, he did get a shield. I'm pretty sure he has. Yeah, he has full shield, though, so that's not really. Oh, but he got a gold scar. Oh, I didn't even see the gold scar drop. Oh, he's in a nice position now. He's in a nice position. What's up, Brandon? Some sort of games you must win the next one so that Noah can hit you up. Yeah, right, exactly. So Noah can hit me up. Like, that's got to be that guy's base right there. What am I? Yep, that's his base. He's not in the safe zone. You're not in the safe zone, brother. Oh, God. Oh, that's so scary. It's still a 1v1, so there's still somebody else. There's another 2 people. Oh, he's only making it out of wood now. That's not good. He's only got wood materials left. Oh, he's getting lit up. Yeah. The wood materials are going to really hurt him. Oh, yikes. He just took some heavy damage. Okay. What's up, Mr. Gods? What's up, Lucas? So I think this third guy's kind of over here to the right. Yeah, he is. He's right there. This guy's got perfect sight on him. No way, he's got 2 potions? He's got a full shield and full health. Oh, yikes. Yikes, yeah. What's up, Braddock? What's up, Dylan? Yo, put your predictions, guys. Who do you think is going to win? Do we know who's left? Do we have a full list of people who's left? We know this Daquan guy's left. I think OP is still alive. Is OP still up? I'm not sure. What's good, Isaac? Oh, snipe him. Oh, I wanted... Imagine if you got a cheeky snipe on that guy. Ooh, that would have been so sick. Oh, shoot. He's making it real rough for himself now. Oh, God. I think did he just go off the launch pad? I think he did. Oh, no, he's still up there. He's still up there. Does he not know where this third guy is? There's still 3 people left. What's up, not your average gamer? He has to push up. He's gonna get, yeah, he's gonna snipe him. Imagine if he snipes him, bro. I think that guy's still to the right. No way, no way. He's right below. Oh! Oh my god! No way! He got him! He won the match! Who's this last guy? No way! He actually just got it! Oh my god! That was a nasty shotgun shot at the very end there. He just absolutely demolished that guy. Holy crap, that was insane. Yo, GG's in the chat for Daquan. He won the game. That was the very first match. He won the very first match. That was the first NA match. And I guess who won the other one? So Dakota's. Oh, Dakota's won the other one. Okay, cool. That was well played. That was very, very well played. All right, let me go ahead and return to lobby here. Oh god, that was loud. What was that? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and switch back over to my waiting screen here, guys, because I'm not technically, I can't show you guys the code here once I do go ahead and enter it. We're gonna be given the codes here in just a second. Once we're given the codes, then I can actually go ahead and start this up. Once we're given the codes. Yo, what's good, Minecraft? How you doing today? All right, let's get this next match started. I'm hyped. I'm ready. I'm stoked. Yo, Nick Bunions too. What's up, Robson? Yo, if you guys are enjoying the stream, definitely make sure you drop a like. I would really appreciate it. Helps me out a lot. What's up, Nex? How you doing today? That's a Quan guy. Played pretty well. I don't even know who so many of these people are, man. I'm gonna have to hit that Daquan guy up. He's a beast. Holy crap. Okay. Alright, we're in, boys. And we're in. Okay, cool. Let's get it. Yo, what's up, Hacking Show? Welcome to the stream, man. Appreciate you coming in through, brother. What's up, Minecraft? What's up, Recon? Fix it so we can still the kill feed. I like the sock in the mic. Yo, thank you, Ricky. Yeah, you guys should be able to see the kill feed now. What's up, Ayush? What's up, Anthony? We can't see the kill feed. You guys can see the kill feed. You should be able to. I'm like 99% sure you guys can. Collision. I looked up the Quan stats. 26% win rate and a 6.9 KD. A 6.9. Jesus.
I looked up Daquan stats.
So
percent win, percent KD.
So that essentially means he has 6.9 kills per match, roughly. Roughly 7 kills a match. Damn. Yeah, we couldn't see it? We can't see the feed? Oh, that's annoying. Hold on. All right, let me go ahead and try to... I can try to fix that here really quickly, guys. I'll just try to move my face cam up a little bit. What's good, Silo? I really hope this doesn't crash my match. If this crashes Fortnite, I'm going to be so pissed. Because I know that happens sometimes when I alt-tab out of my game too much. And I know I've already done that a lot. Show you how to move this up. I'm not going to move it up too crazy high. I'm going to move it up to like there. Save that. Save as. I'm just going to have to reposition it. Go back to Fortnite here. Yeah, so just move this up. No, please don't tell me Fortnite crashed. I think if I move it up that much, you guys should still be able to see everything. Okay, it didn't. Whew, thank God. What's up, Gaming with Friends? How you doing today? So if I just move everything up there, I think you guys should be able to see the majority of everything now. What's up, Grape Ape? How you doing today? It might cover over a little bit of my level or whatever, but I think you guys might still be able to see more of it now. You dropping Fortnite codes? Nah, Trey. Nah. Can I join? No, this is an invitational only, guys. All right, let's get it, boys. What's the new game mode? The new game mode was announced last night, guys. New game mode was announced last night. Hold on, who wants to dance with me? Am I gonna dance some? Hey! What's up, Silo? I wish I knew who these people are. I wish you could like talk in games. So you could actually like talk to some of these people. What's up? My name's Sean. Oh, what's up, Justice? All right, let's make some magic happen here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it. YouTuber Invitational Fortnite Tournament. Let's get some dubs. Let's get some wins. I don't know where we want to land. I'm going to wait a little bit. As much as I would love to just get it right out at Flush Factory and just kind of go for some nasty kills, I think I'm going to get out, I might go all the way to the racetrack. I think that may be my best bet. What's up, Mr. Golden? How you doing today? What's up, Aaron? Into the stream. We're gonna go all the way to racetrack, boys. Let's make the move. I'm really hoping nobody else is gonna go over there, and then maybe if we're lucky, we'll sort of be able to make a cut over to Rito Row and get some supplies. What's up, Braddock? What's up, Dylan? Welcome to the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Drop a like on the stream if you're new. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Make sure you have on post notifications. Tap the bell icon below the video player. Screenshot that and tweet it at me over on Twitter. You'll be alerted for every time I actually start up a stream, and I will follow every single notification squad member back on Twitter. So if you guys want me to follow you back, we can chat in the DMs. Shoot, dude, are you freaking serious, man? This guy's going over here? Of course he is. Who do we think he is, chat? We think he's good or bad? That's the real question. He's going over to the far side. Yeah, I'm going to grab the house right here. Nobody else is around me? Okay, good, good, good. Watch him get all the goods. Watch me get absolutely nothing. Alright, we got a green AR. Not too bad. I don't know if he's got a sniper. He does. Of course he gets a sniper, dude. What a freaking joke, man. I'm going to push up over here. Push right up through the middle, I guess. Please don't tell me he's up on that platform. Oh, there he is. Okay, well, we know where he is now. Sit right here. Not gonna lie, I think I lost him. Stay low? Yeah. Is there a possibility he just ran away, maybe? I'll try to back up here a little bit. Where is this guy? He actually ran away? Come on, I know we did some damage to him too. Probably ran away, man. I don't think this guy's in here. Really hope not. I will definitely take that. Whew. What's up, Ethan? Imagine we just look right out that window right there and he's just chilling. Put that there, actually. Just in case. So. Huh. RIP, man. Drop all the way over there. Kind of tempted to go for it. Can never be too trustworthy. You guys know who's... Shoddy. You know there was a sniper shot down here? Oh, he's building right here. He's kind of... Can I build? I don't know why I pushed that, bro. What's up, Atlantic? I always forget about Twitch. I know I do, bro. Damn, that sucks. I shouldn't have rushed that guy. Shoot. We should have shot at him sooner. Oh, Avery just got... That was Avery who got the snipe. Damn. Forgets about Twitch. I use YouTube more. Yeah. That's just what I'm paying attention to more. We shouldn't play that the best. I just shouldn't have rushed him, to be honest with you. I should have been a little bit more aggressive. Should have been a little, just a tad bit more aggressive. Yeah, I'm stat just shotgun that guy. All right, hold on. Let me see if I can see that in the... Yeah, I should be able to see that in the kill feed when that pops up. Let's see if it actually comes up. Should. Oh, it doesn't. You guys can't see that. What the hell? I'm sorry. I guess you guys are right. So I guess the only time it shows up is if enough of them pop up. That's weird. It's frustrating. Whatevs. Henry, I've nearly completed my build. GPU left to buy. Hey, nice, dude. Good evening, Hennis, you handsome devil. What's up, Raspberry Nipple? How you doing? Basket dude. What's up, bro? But yo, Picky, that's awesome. That's awesome. Congratulations. It's gonna be a really nice feeling once you get that built, for sure. So we know Avery's still up. Not Noah J exploded. Alright, Noah just exploded partially royal. Packet Muncher, how would I be able to join the next one? Did you say it was called Pixly? Yeah, P-I-X-L-Y. P-I-X-L-Y. What's up, Wur? How you doing today, man? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, if you just search up P-I-X-L-Y, you should be able to get it. I can also DM you the link to their website too. But yeah, once you get to their website, you're gonna want to email Adam. Adam or Gustav. Tantric Thrower. Does anybody know who this guy is? I don't know Tantric Thrower. What's up, Jonathan? What's up, Alec? And it took me up with $900 to get my final part of 1080 GPU. Sheesh, man. Nah, yeah, I'm good. I'm good, brother. How did you get partnered with Epic, or how did you get invited? So I'm partnered with Pixly. Pixly is an influencer marketing program, so they partner with creators like myself to help advertise PC and mobile games. And so Pixly, the company who I'm partnered with, has a relationship with Epic Games. Epic Games reaches out to Pixly and say, hey, we'd like to work with your creators, your partners, to help promote Fortnite. And so, because I was partnered with Pixly, Pixly then reached out to me and said, hey, you know, Epic Games is doing this tournament thing. Would you want to participate in it? And then of course, yeah. Of course I want to participate in a tournament, even though I'm not going to do well. You know, it's just fun. Is everyone in this tournament partnered with Pixley? Not everyone. I think some people were reached out directly by Epic Games. Typical Gamer eliminated the D4. I know a large majority are partnered with Epic Games, but not every single one. Not every single person is partnered with Pixley. Some of them, you know, are big enough creators that Epic Games probably more than likely just reached right out to them directly. I don't know why he wouldn't keep those nades. Had to stream my last match is Collision. I looked up Daquan's stats. Is that what you're talking about? Yo, what's good, Peanut Man? What's up, Dylan Johnson? What's up, Recon? Oh, Daquan just shotgun I am stat. All right, so what if Daquan wins back-to-back, dude? Sheesh, that guy's a legend. He's freaking insane, mate. Imagine if he actually ended up getting a kill right there. That would have been insane. Sorry for all the questions, but did you email Pixley and just ask to be a partner with them? No, they originally reached out to me. Oh, what's up, Ethan? How you doing today? So I was reached out by a guy named Gustav. But yeah, Pac, I can DM you the contact that I have over there too, because 100% they take a lot of people, and obviously you go above and exceed the necessary requirements. All right, Sunday poops a lot. Just shotgunned high distortion. There's a drop over there behind this guy right now. I don't know if he's gonna go for that. He's trying to figure out what he wants to do for this guy in the. Trying to figure out what he wants to do with this guy in the space. Oh, he's gonna build a little bit of a base of himself. Okay, these guys build like crazy, man. He's got supplies? Okay, no, I was gonna say. What if he's got a jump pad? I'm just realizing that now. Imagine. What's he doing? Making a little bit of a door for himself? He already emailed me in April, but I never responded. Ugh, lol. Yeah, they did reach out to a lot of creators. I know that. Put a door there. Interesting. Okay, Daquan just shotgun Stone Mountain 64. So this Daquan guy goes off, dude. Sheesh. I'm gonna have to hit it. Does anybody know what his Twitter is? Hennis, learn from these guys. Collision. Need to be lectured. What's up, Chase? No, but you're right. Noah just shotgun Sunday poops a lot. All right, so Noah's still up. Noah's top 7. Sheesh. What's up, Lord Pipes? Hi, I like the video. Yo, thank you. I appreciate that, man. Check Twitch. Sorry. Coins won't work. Exclamation point coins won't work. That's right, because the bot's not connected. But it is now. What's up, Dylan? Henry can't PvP. Listen, Picky. I will PvP you any day, bro. Picky, if you want that $900 to pay for your 1080, all you gotta do is just tell me that I'm a fantastic Fortnite player. What's up, for example? Yo, you guys think if I ran some hacks, they could tell? Maybe if I put some hacks on my... Start loaded up some hacks for myself. I wonder if this guy to his right, who's in that base, can see... Or no, I think he's looking behind now. Yeah. The guy who's in the base is behind him, I'm pretty sure. Who's in that brick base. What's good, Sexy? How you doing today? Welcome to the stream. Do I have a PlayStation 4? I do, yeah. I do. Noah, TG, Vicstar, and Avery are crazy at this game. Yeah, Typical Gamer, Vicstar. Yeah, they always squad up. Those guys are nutty. Now, but Typical Gamer is... I can't remember. Is Typical Gamer going to be playing on EU or NA? He'd be playing on NA, right? I can't remember. I honestly can't remember if he's from EU or if he's NA. What's up, Robson? How you doing today, bud? You're the best Fortnite player. Thank you, Josephson. Or Joseph Hender. Joseph Hernandez. Top 7 right now. Same server as you? Yeah, they're all on the same server. What's up, Epic Noob? How you doing today, buddy? Typical Gamers NA? Okay. Yeah, so Typical Gamers NA. So is Avery still alive? I think Avery's still alive. I don't think he's died. See, I never take advantage of these window building strats. How do I donate? There's a link in the description, man, if you want to donate to the stream. I love how everybody's like, you're the best Fortnite player ever. Only Vicstar's EU? Well, Allier's EU too. I think Allier's participating in this. He was in the Discord. What's up, MLG? Noah will win? Imagine if Noah won, dude. That'd be crazy. I'd be low-key so jealous. Not jealous, like, obviously. Because obviously everyone wants to win, but... Please answer me or unsubscribe. Yo, Shah Lalal? Is that how you pronounce your name? Sorry if I'm butchering that. What's up, Grip? 50v. Yeah, could you imagine a 50v50? We put all the NA guys versus all the EU guys. That'd be kind of fun. Hennis, say my name, please. What's up, Rain Breeze? Was he SMGing him? Maybe so it was harder to hear, I guess. That's probably what he was doing. Can I put a window there instead? What's he trying to do? Six people remaining? I must have missed somebody who died. Well, of those 4 that always team up with Vic. Oh, okay. Of those 4 that always team up with Vic, yeah. Vic, Avery, Tipo Gamer, and Noah. Yeah. Escare. What gun is that? It's the SMG, dude. I don't know why he was using that long range. I guess he's trying to like zigzag so we can see if he can get a shot. All right. See if that guy's over there. Oh! 15-inch warrior just eliminated him, man. Oh my god. That was a nasty shot. Alright, so now we're on board with a 15-inch warrior. Sheesh. That was a nasty little snipe right there. Okay, okay. You deserve more subs. Yo, thank you, Kaplan. I appreciate that. If you guys are enjoying the stream, definitely make sure you drop a like. I would really appreciate it. Alright, what I'm going to do right now, actually, because I know you guys really do want to see the kill feed. That's OP? Yeah, that was a nice shot. Oh, this is OP right here. This is OP. Oh, okay. 15-inch warrior is OP. The H1 guy, Boston Q? Oh, that must be him. Why does he have his name as this? Why doesn't he have his name as OPSCT or whatever his name is? What's up, Twisted? What's up, Jack? Welcome to the stream. Put the music back on. Yeah, so this guy's pretty nasty. Imagine if there was somebody just chilling in the tree. Was shaking bacon? Yo, what's up, bro? Yo, Amit Gosin, what's up, brother? Welcome to the stream, man. That's a base being built right over there. Yeah, OP is nasty at this game. What's up, Fantastic? What's up, Stealthy? I just died 2 off of V2. Yo, RIP, Griffin. That sucks, man. Actually, really sucks. Let's go get this guy's loot. Didn't really have anything too insane. He has a shield, which really helps. I don't know if Avery's still alive. Oh, shoot. Can he not build stairs? Oh, there you go, he just built stairs, okay. Oh god, he's really... he's freaking out right now, low-key. There's shots over there to his right. Ooh! Oh, that was Izzy Gone Crazy! Yo, Izzy Gone Crazy! No! That was Izzy Gone Crazy, the guy who was just in my stream. Panic about a gauge? Yeah, for real. Oh, Vicstar! Wait! It says Vicstar didn't stick the landing. Did Vicstar just fall to his death?
Hennis squad is here. You already know I donate every stream.
He fell to his
Hennis,
death,
don't
man. That's
forget
too
about
funny.
cargo, my boy. I'm counting on you.
Yo, the gamer, thank you very much for the 10, bro. I appreciate that. Yo, Vicstar. Vicstar. Avery died? Oh, okay. Damn, feels sad. Oh, Yo, OP is insane, dude. OP is literally insane. I can't even begin to fathom, dude. Oh, he's nading him. It's kind of weird to nade uphill like that. Oh, God. This is intense, bro. Oh. Oh, God. All he's got to do is throw one in there. Yep, there we go. He's screwed. Oh, my God. He's taking so much heat right now. Look at all the nades, bro. No, he doesn't have any more material. He's gonna die. Noah won the game. No way. GG Noah. Noah just won. No freaking way. That's awesome. Yo, Noah's freaking out right now. Noah is freaking out. That's awesome. Yo. Noah's a freaking monster, dude. Take a picture of that. GG to Noah, man. Holy crap. That's too funny. Alright, let's go ahead and get the next match started. That's funny. That's funny. He beat OP. Damn, and OP's nasty at this game, too. Sheesh. Alright, I think the next match is going to be starting here soon, guys. Noah Geet. Noah's nasty this game, guys. Yo, so Hennis Squad is here. You already know I'm going to donate every stream. Hennis, don't forget about cargo, my boy. I'm counting on you. I'm not going to cargo, man. I'm just not used to looting there. GG, boys. Oh, that's funny. What's up, J Money? How you doing today, man? Welcome to the stream. What's your opinion on 50v50? I think it's kind of cool. The only thing I don't really like about it is how slow-paced it is, you know? All right, I'm going to switch back over to my waiting screen here, guys, because they're probably going to be giving us the another set of codes here pretty soon. Yo, what's up, Elite? Welcome to the stream. Congrats to Noah and V Ans for winning. New codes coming by in a minute. All right, gotta wait for the new set of codes. What's up, Dylan Johnson? This is the thing, like, you want to play, like, aggressive, but at the same time, you want to win. Like, I'm just not at the caliber that these guys are at. You know, these guys are on another level playing this game. What's up, Elite? What's up, Ludwig? I gotta be, like, snorting lines of GFuel and cocaine before I do this. Oh, my God, yo. The gamer. You're nuts, bro. You're nuts. What's good, Cody?
Sorry, Hennis, I got to go to a party, but here's my farewell gift. Hashtag I heart Hennis.
Ask Noah to collab. Yeah, right. He wins the tournament. Yo, Noah, you wanna hit me up? Maybe play a little something. That's too funny. I want to make sure I got that in right. Sweet. All right, let's go ahead and start it up. All right, next match is starting up here, boys. Oh man, what's up, J Money? What's up, Nicholas? Welcome to the stream. Do a 50v50. I don't know. I don't think they can do that. I don't think they can do that. That'd be kind of. I don't know if there's enough NA and EU players to do that. That's crazy cool though. I wish you could donate, but I don't have a card. No, Elite. No worries, bro. No worries, man. But yo, the gamer comes in with a 20 on top of his 10. He says, "Sorry, Hennis, I gotta go to a party, but here's my farewell gift. Hashtag I heart Hennis." Thank you, dude. I appreciate the support. Honestly, you're an absolute legend. I freaking love you. Can we get the gamer spam in the, or just a gamer? Let's get a gamer spam in the chat. I would appreciate it. Thank you very much for the support, dude. It means a lot. What's up, Pineapple? What's up, Blaster? Radic? I want to win one of these games, man, but it's not going to happen. It's not like if I make it top 10, I made it top 11 for my very first one. If I make it top 10, I'm going to be pretty happy. What's up, Taito? Love your videos so much. Thank you, man. It may not happen, but I'm emailing Adam. Yeah, no, they work with a lot of creators, so it's possible. Absolutely. Where's Pro Chris? I have no idea. So they say they'll be
over to Noah and he got hyper.
Yeah,
wow.
I would imagine he probably got pretty hyper. Yo, Alec, thank you very much for the 2, man. I appreciate that. You're an absolute god. Thank you very much for the support. I appreciate it. Yo, Aaron Pittman. Oh my god.
Never played this before.
Never played this before? It's a wicked fun game, bro. Why are you trying to even fight people just can't? Billiard, because... Yeah, you're right. I should do that. Smoked Lobby's helper. What's up, bro? Yo, welcome back to the stream. Yeah, I should just do a billiard set. I should just play like a little sissy. Just try to get to... I don't know. But you notice, too, these guys that are winning, they're just better at the game. So when it comes down to it, I mean, like what's the point? I could camp and get to, like, top 2. I could camp and get to, like, top 10 or whatever and have, like, 0 kills. And then we're going to get into that top 10. And it's going to be, like, all the gods left. And then I'm going to get, like, sniped while jumping across the map. And it's just, like... Someone's going to lead a rocket so easily. What are you playing? I'm playing Fortnite, man. It's currently a YouTuber invitational tournament. I came second hiding behind a bush with a common burst. Oh, yeah. Just bush camp? Could you imagine if we won the game? Imagine if we managed to do that. Imagine if we built a stairway to heaven and did that.
Turn down for what? Turn
Yo, we don't get those often, bro.
I'd like to stay in the recent boy, and yes, it's $50. This ain't no joke.
This ain't no joke, man. The gamer just came in with a $50 donation. He said, I'd like to stay in the Reasons boy, and yes, it's a $50 donation. This ain't no joke. The gamer, I appreciate your donation, man. You're an absolute freaking god. Thank you for the support, man. Aaron Pittman, I don't want to let your $11.11 go by. Thank you very much for that as well. But the gamer, thank you for your 50, dude. You're insane. You guys are all nutty, man. I'm gonna go to Wading Woods, bro. Forget it. I'm gonna go all the way out here to win. What? No, why is everybody else going out here? No way nobody else goes out here, right? I think everybody's kind of going more straight down. You know, straight down. Yo, thank you very much for that 50, brother. That's insane. All right. There's only 50 people in this game, Hennis. Don't screw this up. Yo, thank you very much for all the gamer spams, guys. I appreciate it. What's up, David? Whew. I'm gonna get all nervous, bruh. Bruh. Somebody else lands here, I'm going to be pissed. Daquan just shotgunned somebody already, and I haven't even landed, and he's already gotten a kill. Did I actually already take damage because I landed in a freaking tree? Alright, well, that's just fantastic. Alright, like I said, boys, we're going to play this super passive. We're going to get top 10, and then we're just going to quick scope the hell out of everyone, alright? Mark my words. It will happen. Oh, God, I saw that. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. That kind of freaked me out. Okay. Try to find a weapon. Come on, can you give me something better than a pistol? For real. Obviously... Oh, I hear another chest. There we go. Oh! Yo! They have a rocket launcher. Alright, alright, alright. What's up, Preston Vlogs? What's up, Archie? What's up, Dylan? Yo. Yo, 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 yo. What's down there? Is that a nade? Looks like it. Definitely take some of those. Alright, let's go to the... Get to the house here. Isn't it right on the other side of this? No, I'm stupid, man. There it is, yeah. Get to that. Oh, there's a door right there, too. Yeah, I probably could have used one of the doors. You know, that's boring. Really? I have no AR. Like, keep that in mind right now. I am literally AR-less. Just sit right here. I'm going to reorganize this in a second. Okay, that's good. Alright, let's make this happen. We totally have a massive chance of winning with a pistol and a magnum and a long-range shotty. So, let's make some magic happen. Don't underestimate the RPG. I got back-to-back kills with it before. Yeah, I know it's pretty good, but keep in mind, I'm in a lobby full of, you know, people who have played this game before. Just gotta keep myself locked and loaded. There may have been some people that sort of landed to my north over there. More northwest, I think. Yeah, we gotta get to the safe zone. That should be our first order of business. What's up, King? What's up, Archie? Welcome to the stream. I should really just focus on playing the game. I shouldn't even, like, I literally shouldn't even be looking at chat right now, to be honest with you. While I'm all the way out here, yeah, I got some distance to cover, man. Vic Star just eliminated Avery with an SMG. No, Vic just killed Avery. That's too funny. B Chills just eliminated High Distortion with a rifle. Okay, okay. D4 eliminated Vic Star. Oh, Vic Star's dead. No, feel sad, man. Feel sad, feel sad, feel sad. Okay, we got an AR, baby. Let's get it. I'm gonna swap that out as well. Oh no. Do that. Yeah, there we go. Whoa, 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 hold on. Want that. I'm gonna swap out that. There we go. Okay. Making my way downtown. Alright, OP is still alive. We just gotta wait for all the idiots. Who's really bad at this game? Besides me, who's in this tournament. So we gotta worry about. What's up, SRS? How you doing today? LMAO, RIP. RIP Avery, I thought I heard shots. Yo. Where are these shots? They're not all the way at Dusty Depot. Okay, man, I'm pushing this way. Sladron just eliminated Priest. 34 people left, man. Amber Games just eliminated Gorilla Planet. I love how we killed Stone Mountain. Like, stop pushing. We need to go into the safe zone, Billiard. I need to keep moving this way anyways. Sheesh. Getting nagged over here. My lord. Let's push more this way. I don't like that we have a burst AR. I don't know why I'm pushing that way, man. Just don't push anything, Henis. I shouldn't take any damage here. Do I have a cow? No. Really wish I had full health. Yo, H2O Delirious? Yeah, Delirious is in here? That's funny. I'm gonna go over there and camp in that little shack. I'm literally gonna play like such a sissy this game, guys. I don't care. The last 2 games, I have not been placed well. Not about to take yet another L here. I don't give a crap, chat. I'm literally gonna get up and go use the bathroom. Not literally. This is the strat. What's up, Studio Is Bay? How you doing today? We can listen. We're gonna be camping like a little sissy, dude. And if I end up winning this, and then it gets put on YouTube, I just want everybody who's about to hate me in the comments section, just know that I'm doing this for the dub. I'm doing this for the fans. Is that a guy? Is that just the anti-aliasing freaking out on the edge of that? Or is there a guy in there? No, there is a guy in there. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, he just destroyed the roof. Alright, so he's right in that shed. Alright. So when he pushes... Oh, Snipe's going on to my right. Camping in Fortnite, resident sleeper. You guys are telling me to camp. Chat wants me to camp, so we're playing a campy. Alright, there's a guy. We could... Oh, we got a sniper right now. We could easily get him. Smitty just killed Guaba TV. So that was that fight right over there, I think. Oh, so now that guy's in the storm, though. So he's going to push that right here. He doesn't know where to push, though. Okay, he's out. Building a little base for himself. Imagine if we just rocketed him right now. I don't want to do that, though. Should we do it? Bush camp? I don't have a bush. But I know what you're saying. We could just sit in a bush, but I don't want to do that. Alright, we gotta move on to the next safe zone. That's what I should do. I don't want to be seen. Oh, this guy literally right down here. Do we go for him? Or not? I don't know who it is. Could just follow him. He saw me, dude. What? What's happened to my game? No! GeForce Game Ready Driver! I don't want you right now! Oh my god, did he not see me? GeForce Game Ready Driver. Imagine if that's what killed us. I get alt-tabbed because of that. Rocket him. He's definitely hiding behind a tree. 100%. What on God's earth? There's no way he already pushed up this way, right? No, he's still running this way. Okay, never mind. Never mind, never mind. Okay, we're gonna try to get the upper hand on him by pushing up this way. What's up, Reese? Take damage from that. What? I just got killed by H2O Delirious, man. Did you... I know it's so annoying to say, dude, but the bloom right there. The bloom. I know I jump shot it at the end, but, like... There, nothing was hitting. Nothing was hitting. Oh, that's so stupid. Got like a couple shots off there at the end. Should have just rocketed him. That probably would have been the best option. Hennis potato. And the shots were on him, dude. Like, whatever. Whatever. What's up, Braddock? Yo, what's up? It's yo, bro. Don't use the umbrella? What do you mean? What's up, Garrett? Come on. Guys, listen. The bloom in this game, it's not even, all right? I don't even want to, I legit don't even want to hear it. Nikavald just died. RIP Nikavald. Servers have great connection right now. No way. I swear. Oh, no way. Oh, Summit just sniped somebody. Oh my god, he's right there. No free. Oh shoot, yo, you're screwed. He's screwed. Shotgun! He got Daquan, man. No way. That's too funny. Oh, that was a headshot, I'm pretty sure. Oh, yo, get back on the jump pad, get back on the jump pad. Get back on the jump pad, then shoot it with, like, rocket launcher. No way, no way, no way. Who is this man? Who is this man? That was a nice play. He's top 9. That was a nice play. Behind you, behind you, behind you, behind you. This is POTUS, Stone Mountain 64. No, no. Oh my god. He's just feeling it, man. He's just feeling it. What? What is happening? Who is this man? Who is H2O Delirious, dude? Sheesh. This dude's freaking killing it. Ah, this guy's a god. He is insane. Oh, Garrett, to your left there. Oh, he's between a lot of people right now. Does he have another jump pad? He's right in the middle, too. Look at how exposed he is. He's going to win with my RPG. Yeah, can we take a moment to appreciate that? Hit a proCreep to see if he's mad. Why would proCreep be mad right now? I wonder if he has another jump pad. Kind of curious. I don't know why he doesn't go for the other guy. He's gonna be... Nah, he's got a note. Oh, no. Oh. The other guy jumped out. Yeah. Nah, he's screwed. Summit just... Oh, that was Summit down there. I don't know why he didn't go for Summit. That confused me. Guy's still up there and he's weak. Alright, yo, Summit. Make Daddy proud. Imagine if he... Oh, who's this guy? Ooh, Sir Winter eliminated Summit. Damn. Alright. Summit's down. H2O Delirious is down. Sir Winter. I don't know who Sir Winter is. Surprised he wouldn't go for him? Yeah. I don't know. What's the bloom? So bloom is just a term that people have come up with to talk about how, like, how your shot, even when you're aiming, doesn't always hit your target. So even when you're ADSing, looking right at your target, doesn't always hit. I don't know why he didn't pick up. Okay, I was gonna say. So even when you're ADSing and you fire right at that shot, there's like, I don't know if it's the reticle reset or what happens, but there's something in the game where it's a little bit of RNG that makes it so your shot doesn't always consistently hit. So it's frustrating when you're aiming, your shots doesn't always happen. It doesn't help if you shoot faster or slower. It's just the bloom. So it's kind of just a term to reference the randomness of your shot, or the randomness of the accuracy of the shot. H2O Delirious is a YouTuber who's really fun. No, I know who H2O Delirious is, yeah. So when I was saying, like, who is this man, it's more along the lines of, like, who is this man? Like, why is he so freaking good? Like, it just surprised me. I've watched only, like, a couple of H2O Delirious' videos when he's been playing Fortnite. He just typed in the chat and said 7 kills, lol. That was fun. He had 7 kills? Holy Jesus. Yeah, he went freaking off. He's got some footage for sure. Sir Winter might be Sir Nado? Okay, or Sir Nando. Alright. I was planning to change it because Thunder Gun or Wonder Waft, because I really don't know. Yeah, so they're gonna be doing a couple of these games up until 6 o'clock. So for another 45 minutes. I kind of want to change my region to EU and see what happens. Change my region to EU, click apply, and play it against all the EU people. I wonder if my connection would just be so bad that it would just... Oh no, does he see that guy? Does he have a... What if he has a jump pad? What's up, Ruffy? Sir Winter won't win. 1% and a 2.3 KD. He might win. Hey, don't count him out. He's in top 5. Yo, Traps. Hennis, you like that Avi I made for you 2-3 weeks ago? LMAO? Yeah, was that the Zim 4 one? They traded. How pissed is CND right now? He just traded with him. Can you imagine if that's how you go out, your top 5, and that's how you die? Watch Hennis go into EU and die to Allier? Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, it was the Zim 4 one? Okay. That's funny. I think if this guy's a typical gamer, if he's in the safe zone, he's barely in the safe zone. How typical? Typical's just freaking... He's just chilling, man. Yeah, typical's pretty good. He died of Pixel? I don't even know who that is. Yo, Hennis, what's up, Skybella? What's up, Aiden now? Bro, that was crazy. Imagine trading. Rafflesplode. He rocket launched me and he liked me as well as himself. What? Did Allier kill you? No, I'm not. Allier is playing on the EU server game. I'm playing on the NA one. I just do EU next. I want to see it. No, that's crappy thing to do. I'd have bad connection. I don't know how the ping would work or whatever. What's up, Luke Smith? How you doing today, bud? I don't think this guy even knows that he's here. Typical Gamer has a huge advantage right now. I've actually never been in the stream where you read all my messages. I feel special. It's Typical Gamer, Lachlan, and someone else. Okay, Typical Gamer, Lachlan, and someone else, yeah. What's up, Aaron? What's up, Yusuf? This is great. This is so great. These are just so much fun, man. I mean, honestly, like they're highly competitive once you get towards the end. These are just fun, right? It's just fun to throw a ton of YouTubers in here and play the game. Oh, oh. I wonder if you can get a snipe on him through the tree. But he is right on the edge. I think that other guy might barely be in the safe zone too, so Typical Gamer is going to have to move. If you look at that mini-map, that guy that he's looking at, who's in that wooden structure, might barely be in the safe zone. I wonder why he doesn't rocket launch him right now. Crate dropping right there. So we know the last three guys. We know where they are. It's just a matter of how this is all going to work. They're just all chilling, looking at each other. The rocket spam, yeah. How's it going so far? Yo, Custom. Our first game was our best with only 1 kill. But, yeah, now it's fun. Noah won the last one, which is cool. We got Typical Gamer, Lachlan, and somebody else left in this match. I don't know who else. Why does he have just a... Oh. Shoot. Oh, he sees that guy down there, bro. It's so sad that he's got nothing out of wood right now. This other guy to the left just has to wait for them to fight it out, honestly. Oh, he's going for him. He's going for him. He's going for him. He's going for him. Oh, he missed the shots. All right, Ripped Juice. Ripped Juice. That's the last guy's name. So now it's Ripped Juice and Lachlan, I guess. According to Beast John. If Lachlan's the last guy alive. Let's see, so we'll see how this works out. This other guy's in a... Lachlan, if this is Lachlan, he's in a much better situation. What is he doing? Ripped Juice won the game. What's up, Morose? How you doing today? Shawl? Yo, GG's in the chat for Ripped Juice, man. GG. New code's coming by in a minute, ladies and gentlemen. Yo, let's get it. You're so pro at this game. Yeah, we're just going to pretend that was me. If I put, like, borders on the screen... He ripped him a new one? Yeah, for sure. Yo, GG's in the chat, guys. That was a good one. Alright, new code's coming soon, guys. I'm gonna go back to the waiting screen here. Everyone loves the Ripped Juice. What's up, Aaron? Alright, yeah, so I just gotta sit on my waiting screen right here, guys, while we wait for the new codes to come in. What's up? It's Jordan. How you doing today, man? What's up, Lauren? What's up, EO Anthony Vlogs? What's good, brother? How to play EU? The lag is not bad as you think. Trust me, I played EU before. I don't know, man. I don't know. It might not be too bad, but at the same time, I'll stick to NA region. It's more fun, I think.
This is a Chucky Beat production.
Oh, yo, Kitty Plays Games is in here, too. I didn't even realize she was in here. Wow, so has Kitty Plays been in these NA games? She must be, right? Didn't even know. Okay. Let's get it. Alright, we're in, boys. What's up, J Boom? Hennis, what's NA? North America. Notice me, please. What's up, Thomas? What's up, Torn? This is fun, man. Honestly, like, obviously it's cool to win. Like, I'm not going to deny that. Like, obviously nobody plays this game to lose. But, like, it's fun at the end of the day. It's just fun to watch the YouTubers battle out and then see all their reactions here in the Discord. And I don't know, it's fun, man. It's fun. Z Hunter, you legend, better win it for me. I got you, bro. I got you. Nah, I'm not gonna win, man. What's up, Mako? What's up, Reese? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, well, it's just fun, man. It's just fun. Yo, Vic just asked, can we do 50v50 for the last one? What's up, Aaron? What's up, Maddie? Hennis, I'll donate the rest of my bank account balance if you win. Oh God, what's the rest of your bank account balance, dude? Do I even want to know? What's up, Matt? Yeah, I am drinking GFuel right now, man. 338 likes. We need more. True. Drop a like in the stream, guys, if you haven't done so already. I wonder if they can throw one together. Yo, Lachlan just said the code didn't work for me, and I might have leaked it. That's funny. What's up, you boy? What's up, Fallout Kid? That's too funny. I'm unsubscribing. Yo, Shah Lalal. Why? What's up, Jaden? What's up, you boy? It's 158.6. Oh, 158.6. Oh, your balance. Yeah, yeah. 50v50 would be so cool. That would be so much fun. I gotta be more active in this Discord. Yes. Match is starting. Good luck. Here we go. What's up, Aaron? What's up, Zero BBQ? Let's get it, baby. Keep up the good work. Yo, thank you, Maddie. What's GFuel? It's an energy drink, brother. What's up, Jimmy? Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. What's up, Storm? How you doing today, Vux? Hennis, please read this. I'm watching you in math class right now. Yo, Tristan, I appreciate that, brother. Hey, yo, Monster the Ass. What's good, brother? Welcome to the stream, man. Hey, yo, thank you very much, Daily Slayers, for the 10-bit, by the way. That was 15 minutes ago. Sorry, I missed that. Face Monkey, what's up, dude? All right, where are we feeling, chat? Where are we feeling? I don't know, man. I don't know, dude. Let's go out there. We're gonna go all the way to the racetrack. Let's freaking do it. What's up, Torn? Good luck, everybody. Good luck, have fun. And if you shout me out in Discord, I'll love you forever. Shout you out in this Discord? Nah, dude. That would be so cringy if I shouted out even my own YouTube. You kidding me? I'm not shouting out your YouTube. What are you on about? Hennis, if you mention me, I'll like, subscribe, and donate £1,000. It's very generous of you, man. If I... Are there shots over on the racetrack? I think I just covered over something. I don't know what that was. It's down there. Oh, I think I just picked it up. I think there was somebody down there on the racetrack, though. It's right down here, he has no idea. I can't aim, bro. I can't aim, bro. I'm done. I'm just so done. I'm just so done. I'm so done. You all can unsubscribe to my channel, by the way. I'm just going ahead and putting that out there. I can sit here and say that the burst IR isn't my thing, but at the end of the day, that was just bad. Mad cuz bad. Aiden, I will literally ban you from my stream. Hope you know that. That was just terrible. To Jehovah. There was... Oh my god, dude. I kind of want to watch that back, but at the same time, I know I'm gonna be like way too uncomfortable to watch that back. I'm gonna be sitting there watching the clip, and I'm gonna be like, oh jeez, eyes are wide. I'm close to the screen, like, oh, I got this. Whatever. Noah's at Loot Lake. He's legit using a scope AR. He's gonna die. Ooh. He's got 5 HP. Oh my god, salty. Oh, I'm... Yeah, no, I'm slightly triggered. What's up, Dottie? I told Lachlan you died. Is that okay? I'm streaming. It's not like it's private information. What is this? Like, what is that? What's up, Archer? It's just a game. Why you have to be mad? Typical gamer killed an Epic employee. See, this is the thing with these tournaments, man. It's like... Did he actually kill an Epic employee? That's funny. Avery's down too. Why am I in a timeout? Anthony, I don't know. You might have spammed something. By the way, remember, can you shout me out? Yo, Torn Nate, what's up, bro? This is my first video. I get to see you go live. Yo, hold on. I'm actually gonna get into Discord right now. I'm about to get literally cooked. You guys ready for this? I'm about to join a Discord full of hold on. What's up, Linda? You in today? See if these guys are in.
5.
Oh hey, what's up?
Oh hey, you kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you still streaming?
Yeah, I'm still live. You want to hear what's funny too?
What?
My game just crashed because I alt tabbed. Ha!
Oh. Well, at least you're dead, so.
Perfect. Yeah. Just like the other games too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unreal has crashed. Fortnite. We
Still
are
don't
very
know why-
sorry this crash occurred. Yeah, feels sad. Hold on,
Are
let me
they sorry though?
Not
me
trying
go
to camp.
go ahead and pull up. Go ahead and pull up Noah's stream. I don't know. No, did Noah die? Or no, he got a kill, right?
I don't know. But you just need to just not even take any of these gunfights. It's 1 kill game, okay? Trust.
That's so lame, though.
It is. It is lame. Don't listen to boss. If you can't get 10 kills, you don't deserve to win anyway.
That's a bad mod.
H2O Delirious had
Great
like...
man.
Dude, he had... That was insane.
Yeah, Delirious was going off. That was nutty.
He
Dude, he took your
obliterated
RPG
everyone.
and killed so many kills with it.
Yeah, he took the RPG that I couldn't kill anybody with, or that I didn't kill anybody with, and then almost nearly won the game with it.
CDog21 saying Noah died.
Noah died, really? Oh, I'm watching the stream right now. Let's see what happened. My face cam's gonna be over
Henis,
here.
all of your mods are bad. You're getting timed out.
Are you sure about that?
That TC Jaren guy is pretty bad.
Yeah, well, I'm the only one modding this channel. So.
Hold on. Solution donated $1.11 and said I got timed out for spam when I sent one message saying potato.
Yeah, it's Nightbot.
That's a bad
why.
mod. It's Nightbot Solution. It's not an actual mod. That's Nightbot timing you out for that.
And it's 5 seconds. So.
No, it was actually 60. If you do it repeatedly, it goes up.
Noah got a kill. Yo, what's good, Torn Nate? How you doing today, my man? Welcome to the stream, brother.
Oh.
If I could E to him, and then I could have healed, and then
Yeah.
could have.
That last gunfight against Jehovah. That
Yeah,
was
you got
yeah,
I
like
looked over-
I cringed there. I cringed multiple
I'm
times.
watching Bear play League, and then I looked over, and you were just gone out of your seat, and I saw Jehovah killed you. I'm like, oh, someone's a little upset.
like,
It's so
I'm
so fun after
disappointed.
people die to look in the Discord
Alright, we're in the zone.
and see
no
everybody's
damage.
reaction.
We've got the
Oh my god, you
meds.
have so many icons
Got
at the bottom of your
decent-
screen.
Decent guns.
Just kill
Obviously,
someone.
we don't have in-game guns yet. That's gonna come
Ew,
out
Internet
pretty
Explorer. Ew,
rough.
why do you have that on your
But
taskbar? What the
we're
heck?
looking good so far.
I don't
We're
even know
looking
what that's
very,
on there.
very
Yeah,
good
you
so
have
far.
so many things.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you have Origin pinned?
I keep everything pinned, bro, pretty much.
iTunes.
Audacity.
Oh man, this
Life of a
thing is
YouTuber.
Do you have the
man.
audacity?
Windows.
He has clownfish down there for when he changes his force.
Wait, do I? Yeah, I do
Yeah.
actually.
Windows Media Player. Oh boy.
He didn't say
Minecraft.
that. He
Yeah,
did.
there's
Minecraft.
Bro, how does okay? If you put, can you even put any more things on there?
Hennis plays Minecraft? I don't know. I think they just get smaller if I do. Oh, Noah's about to die. Maybe. Who is there? Oh, he whipped a ton of shots there. What? Noah just completely trapped himself in. What?
He's making a door.
Oh! No, Noah just got Stone Mountain.
Stone Mountain, baby.
Oh, that's funny. What's up, Italian Turtle?
GG Stone.
That was a good kill.
Guy behind you.
Hennis
Did I
plays
time that
Minecraft.
Dodie guy
Exposed.
out?
Yeah, what's up, Monet Lions? What's up, Powerful Pancake? I'm not gonna be doing any raids right now, man.
I have no wards.
I hate
Hannah, can you
when
just
my
stop
game crashes.
midstream and raid somebody.
Yeah. What's up, Reese Finnerty? How you doing today, Lils? Welcome to the stream.
Watch out, he's gonna put it right here, and then you're gonna get crit. Nice.
How far do we have to go? Oh gosh.
That sound is so annoying.
Oh, Noah.
When they try to tower dive, I can
We
ult
gotta
it.
go now.
Your
The
cam's
zone
blurry,
is
by the way,
not
Hannah.
friendly at the moment.
Yeah.
Noah's gonna get
not
shot.
focused.
Noah's gonna get shot in the back, I think.
Focus your
The zone
cam,
is
bro.
not friendly.
It's so annoying to It's just so demoralizing to die at the beginning.
Yeah, 3 times in a row.
Good.
Yeah, honestly, you gotta practice more. Yo, want to get a duo in real quick?
Absolutely not.
Push moving.
Snakes everywhere.
So, Christopher, how is there someone on top of the freaking map? What the hell? What are you talking about?
There might be a moving bush over here somewhere.
All Hennis is missing is Roblox. Yeah, that's all.
Someone
That's all I'm
has
missing from my
rolled up
taskbar.
inside of there.
Yeah, why don't you
He's
have
not
Roblox?
leaving.
Oh, it's not
No
gonna be.
matter
Hold on.
what.
If I go full screen, it's not gonna block this thing. It'll just block the mini map. Sorry, chat.
Again,
No
your,
matter the
again,
cost,
your
he is not
face
leaving.
cam is. Yeah,
Oh, what's that? What do you mean?
you gotta fix it. It's unfocused.
blurry.
All right,
Yeah.
here we go. This is crunch time right here.
Okay, it's good now.
I need 100 more gold.
What's up, J Vlogs? That just got really incepted there. My apologies, chat. All your videos live? What do you mean, man?
There you go.
The
Yeah,
Quan
it's
just
better now.
got Nick involved. Noah's pushing down here.
I got a winter supply drop.
Look at Discord when you guys can.
Did I miss anything?
Oh.
Nah, you didn't miss anything, Cody. Imagine if Noah wins 2 of these. That'd be crazy.
That seems legit.
Whoever wins gets a skin. Ha 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 ha.
That'd actually be pretty cool. Oh, no, there's somebody who's a bush.
Bush right in front of me.
Billy, look at the Discord.
Yeah, give me a minute. I just
There's
opened
2
it.
people
We're just
in
chilling
very
here
close
waiting, guys,
proximity over
until the next game starts.
So
Well,
I'm
there's
not
probably
gonna-
gonna be
I'm not
time
gonna
for
push
like maybe
them.
1 or 2 more
I'm gonna
matches.
wait. I'm gonna wait till I have a little bit better
Hey?
position, like a little bit farther inside the zone. All that.
What's up, Bryce? How you doing, man?
Okay.
Can't tell if there's
As
a.
of right now,
That's a
I'm
good one,
saying
Tyler.
it's super hard to spot one of those guys.
You want a better one?
That's a banger.
I got a better one.
Man.
How many people are left? There are currently 14 people left, guys. 14 people. Actually, is there a different
Blue
over?
trinket.
I can switch to? No, I think my overlay, my face cam's always gonna be in the upper right. Shoot. I'll just, you know what I'll do, guys? I'll just do this.
I mean, he's not wrong.
So you guys
right?
can see.
He should.
Drop a like
My
on Noah's stream.
frames.
Always gotta support.
Yeah, there's
I-
no way we're.
I'm almost, I'm really flattered because Noah's titled his stream "Biggest Fortnite Streamers Invitational,"
Oh wow.
and I'm in that invitation.
You were just lucky enough to be a part of it.
I'm literally gonna kill you.
Whoa.
Whoa. Did I just say that on stream?
You didn't say that, did you?
What's up,
Wow.
Dawson? How you doing today, man?
Tell this guy that you're watching you can do it.
Tell the guy that you're watching you can do it. Got you, man.
That...
You
Alright,
can
bye,
do it.
pancake.
Noah. Oh god.
So I just typed in Noah's chat. You can do it. Oh, yo, what's
Wait.
good, Jamie?
Oh, this is lit. Any contract that you do from the
Hold on.
quartermaster?
Everybody's saying there's a bush behind him.
Sending area.
Oh.
We're gonna actually flashed.
It's the guy on top of the tower, I'm pretty sure.
Everybody's saying there's a bush behind him.
Dude, imagine if
This
there was a
ending
bush
area is
following
worse than
him.
Wailing Woods.
Hennis, you can do it? Yo, thanks, man. Oh, no.
April Fools.
April Fools. Wait, I'm dead. Ha!
I get it, because you're dead.
Ooh. Hennis, can you notice me, please? What do you... Yo, Dawson, I got you. Yo, someone just typed in Noah's chat. Hey, for Hennis, I was watching your stream.
Haha.
Uh-huh.
You guys are the worst friends ever. I just want you to know that.
Haha.
Ha.
Haha.
Is Typical
At
Gamer
least
alive?
we
I
didn't
don't
hard
think so.
mute this time like we do every single time.
That's true.
Uh-huh.
I don't think this
Hey,
guy...
wait,
hold on,
we're
hold
done
on.
with
Come to get
This
out of
guy
lane.
Noah's here. Did I raid Noah? No, I didn't raid Noah. Noah's either
Notice
gonna get a
me,
nice
Dennis.
kill right
I'm a
here.
virgin.
Oh, shoot.
God.
Noah just got a net. Oh, no. He's about to kill himself. Noah just almost naded himself. Oh my god.
I mean, at least you haven't, like, fallen off a cliff or something.
Yeah, Vicstar fell out of a tree and killed himself.
Well, yeah.
It was like top 10. That's
I mean,
fine.
it was because Noah was shooting at him, though, so...
Oh, was it?
Well,
I didn't-
shooting
yeah.
at
If
the
you wait
tree.
5 seconds, I can. No.
Oh, GG. Yeah, surrender. Okay, well that's it for me.
It's a clever way to be able to see people. I didn't think about that. Any of you
What
guys
did you
like
do?
Stranger Things or have watched it? No, Matt, good, I haven't. So you know how you can edit walls to like put stuff in
Yeah.
them? So what Noah just did is he edited the wall.
Hans, you've watched Stranger Things, what do you mean?
Yeah, didn't I say I'd watched it?
No, I thought you said you didn't.
No, I said I'd seen it.
Champion capsule.
Oh.
If I said I hadn't seen it, I lied. I have seen it. That's really cool. So you know how you can edit the side of the walls? When you do that, you can see through the walls because it goes into that edit mode. But it hasn't actually changed in real like on the server side. So you can see through the wall, but other people can't. They can't see
The only
inside
wall.
the
The only side is that you don't have your weapon out.
Right, you don't have your weapon, but you can see people, but they don't know you're looking
Mhm.
at them. You know, so it's kind of cool.
Ooh, wall hacks.
All right, Noah's top 7 right now.
Rainbow Six Siege.
What is somebody saying in the chat? ProHype, are you streaming? Because I did not get a noti. Yes, I am at Caleb 2 times. What's up, Lucky? What's happening? We're just waiting for Noah to finish up his match right now. He's currently top 7 with 2 kills. Almost 10,000 people watching him. Say hello to my 145 viewers.
135.
Says 140. Oh, maybe it counts Twitch as well.
Oh, maybe.
This guy in there.
Try to keep you humble somewhere. Always there for you.
Thanks, man. I'm loving this stream if you're restreaming this. No way. That's going to be so funny if he gets that. Oh, this guy's got to be weak. Ooh. Noah got really close to dying right there. Oh my god.
Well played, dude.
What's up, got me, Choppa?
Great play.
Did a lot of damage.
Sheesh. Yeah, that guy did a lot of damage.
Is that like a headshot with the shotgun?
He's got a gold scar now, too. What is the server for the Invitational? It's a private server, man.
But if you donate $5,000, I'm sure you can get you in. So
Yeah, you donate $5 grand.
You're definitely playing.
On it. Anyone? Wait, I'd rather buy a Titan V than get in this tournament, right? RT?
Rather buy 2.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I was about to kill somebody else, I think. I
Oh,
wish I could still be spectating right now. That sucks.
Hey guys, 100 flops, by the way.
Just rush him, Noah. Go for it. Doesn't have that much health. Ooh. Microwave gaming.
He has 2 snipers.
Yo, Paula raves in my chat.
That's meta, bro. Meta.
Yeah. He had 2 scars there too.
Yeah, 2 scars, 2
And a sniper.
snipers, and a
Yo, what's up,
shotgun.
Connor? How you doing, man?
A med pack too.
He's top 5 again with 4 kills. Imagine if Noah wins it, dude. This is crazy.
Who's in here?
Beast John!
I be Sean.
What's up, Crystal? How you doing?
He's not gonna talk because he's on stream.
Hi, Beast John. Oh, hi, Beast John.
I think his mic's broken.
I think it's bro.
Bork.
Orc.
But can't you just camp behind the waterfall in this game? Isn't that a good thing?
Hold on. Noah's
No.
about to get a kill, I think. Oh no, is he? Oh, he potatoed. Oh no, Noah.
Oh,
No, Noah died to high distortion. Shoot.
Good play, good play.
Feel sad, man. Feel sad.
Oh, I was dead
Who's
anyway.
that? The only
Another
YouTuber I
person
know
running
is
up, I had
ProHype.
no meds.
Huh?
Dang it, so
You
close.
don't even know Summit 1.
Yeah, what's a summit? Mountain? Like when you get to the top?
No, beyond the summit, you know, CS tournament.
Oh yeah, I don't. What's the CS? Creep score?
Wait, hold on. I think Summit's still in here.
He's a skeleton, but so does high distortion.
Yeah, go watch Summit stream, bro.
Fight anyone with
Should we all
skeleton, bro.
become skeletons?
Everybody's
Who
skeleton.
left?
Next game.
All
these
No, I
skellies.
wanted to
Again?
see, like a 1v1 you and Daquan. That's all I wanted to see.
Yeah, it was close. Didn't high distortion
Where
just
do you
kill him?
find your coins?
No,
Exclamation
they
point
said-
coins.
Oh, you find them in supply drops.
How much? Oh, there's a guy
I
right
find
there.
mine in my wallet.
Yo, high distortion.
Quan
I
has
love
a
supply
limited
drops.
grenade launcher right
HD
now.
got me.
Oh my goodness!
The triple pump.
Switching.
He has a triple pump.
Oh my god,
Does he
Bichon,
have 3
stop.
pumps or does he? Dude, I mean,
He's
No, I
three.
think-
He just no, maybe 2, and he just kept switching.
I think yeah, it
Yeah,
must have been 2.
you switch
Does the
forward and
pump
back.
animation not go through if you switch it right away?
No. So you can do 3 pumps from
Dude, it's like
one
YY
pump
in
shotgun.
COD.
From 2.
Oh my goodness,
He
why?
has 5
Except
health.
not a like nerf.
Wait, who's no one on
like,
Discord
yet?
actual strategy.
Dude,
Huh?
oh wait, they said summits left? So is it Summit and Daquan?
Summit.
Someone died in the beginning. Someone said.
Yeah, I was
Oh
gonna
my
say-
god.
Oh my god.
He's
Yo,
just
that was
asking
almost-
for death.
Daquan.
Daquan's got it. This Daquan guy's about to get another win.
Oh,
Yo, the headshot. It's so brutal here. I don't
so
want to.
Daquan has a green pump and then a white pump, and that's just what he's rocking with.
He is a
Somebody turn up that Beethoven Fifth
Oh, no, that's true.
Symphony.
Oh no.
First thing he says.
Wait, do I hear Allie?
No,
Nah, I
you
don't think so.
haven't any of this tree life. Yo, one RPG mess up his
Oh,
life.
dude.
Where'd he go?
Oh, he's got
Right
it.
there. Oh, it's over.
Oh no. Yo, Slajan was the last alive. Adrian, that's funny.
Insane.
6 HP.
Legendary.
Alright. Exactly, no stream there. Alright, we're just gonna go ahead and wait for the next match to start here. I think we got time for like one more match, I think is what they're gonna do. One more match. That's the plan. That's the plan. Alright, we just gotta wait for this next match to start here, boys. And let's get it. Double pump stats so good. Yeah, I gotta go ahead and load up Fortnite again. What the hell am I doing? Yeah, what's good, Jamie? Welcome to the stream. Let me go ahead and pull that out too. What's up, Chantel? After this tournament's over, guys, we're probably gonna keep playing a couple more games. Exit out of the Discord there. Yeah, perfect. All right, let's go ahead and start this up. What's up, Pro Dustin? What's up, Chris S? All right, 20 seconds till the last codes come in. All right, last codes are in, boys. Let's get it, baby. What's up, Matt? Hopefully we'll be able to get in this one. I hope so. Hopefully if I load up here quickly enough. Imagine if I don't get in because I had to reload Fortnite. Probably should have loaded this up sooner. To be honest with you. Alright, I think I'm in. Alright, yep, I'm in queue. Alright, perfect. You made it in, boys. Ah, what's up, Wyatt? How you doing today, bud? Welcome to the stream, man. What's up, Braylon? Welcome. Alright. I mean, let's see how this goes. It'll probably end up being the last one. Last set of codes. Thanks so much for playing with us. You have 2 minutes to enter these codes. This has been pretty fun, man. This has been pretty sick. I want to, like, Daquan's won too. Jeez, that guy's crazy. Daquan is hacking. I swear he can't be that good. Nah, he's probably just that good. I don't even know who he is. I'm gonna have to look him up. I don't know if he must be a YouTuber or a streamer of some kind. What's up, Tommy? What's up, GeoEpri? How you doing today, dude? When I have children, I'm gonna name them Hennis. Oh God, please name them something better than that. What's up, Bucks? Welcome to the stream. Daquan doesn't have a Twitter, so I don't know. Damn, that's weird. What's up, HH? How you doing today, buddy? Welcome to the stream. Yo, if you guys haven't dropped a like yet, please make sure you do that. Hopefully we'll have some luck heading into this final match. We'll see. 1 last minute to enter into these codes. We'll go from there. May I live stream you? Yeah, you can live stream me, man, if you want to. I don't mind. I really wish they'd do a 50v50. That'd be so much fun. Just DM Daquan on Discord. I don't know if let me actually check and see what he is in the Discord. Yo, what's up, Some Spicy? How you doing today, man? What's good, Jamie? All right, let me go ahead. So I think there's Daquan right there. Send message. Yo, GG, bro. You're insane. All right, loading into the match, boys. Yeah, I just messaged Daquan on the Discord. Hopefully he responds. Yeah, what's good, Craig? How you doing today, my man? After this, guys, I may end up running some like duos or squads or something like that. Not really sure. Hey, this is my first time being in your live stream. Yo, Mr. Satama, what's up, bro? Welcome to the stream, man. Appreciate you stopping in. All right, 49 people on this one. Let's get it. What's good, Christopher? Alright, let's figure out where we want to get out. Have I won a match yet? No, my best was top 11, dude. Best was top 11. It's 1 game Daquan, game 2 Noah, game 3 Daquan, game 4 proHype. No, there was another game in there. There's another game in there, I'm pretty sure. Should I just get out right out and go right to Pleasant Park? That's probably a bad idea. I'm just gonna get it immediately. I'm gonna play the slightly more aggressive strat, which isn't a good idea, like at all by any means. I think it's just those 3. After this, do a 50v50. Maybe. We'll see. Bless you. And I get all the way over here. All the way over to the prison. What's up, Shane? About to get the dub? Yo, imagine if we get the win, man. I don't think anybody else came out this far. Oh, Daquan's already down. Daquan was the first one to die. Oh, man. High Distortion just killed Undead Pilot. All right, so Daquan's down. Damn, last match, Daquan already took the L. But he's already won 2 games, so the man's already freaking... He's already killing it. Yeah, what's good, Cody? Welcome to the stream, bro. I don't usually land here, so this is going to be a new experience for me. What's up, D-Guard? How you doing, man? It's gonna be a lot of stuff to go through here. Ooh, hear a chest right above me. Let me take that. Oh, it's in there. We're gonna have to loop around. Definitely take a medi. Oh, this is gonna be a really nice place for loot. Just realizing that now. Is there something above me? Grab that. Let me do this. Might as well pick that up as well. Let's go ahead and get this. Oop. Wow, we have so many white ARs. Look at that. Oop. Just check the rest down here. Grab that brick. All right, now let's head back over here because there's another one up here. Wasn't there a... We heard one. Let's get this right up here. Maybe down here then. Here it is. Alright, alright, alright. Break this down actually. Gotta get as much supplies as we can, might as well. No harm. I don't think there's anybody else here. So, that's just the door to the outside. I don't think we were already down here on this level. We're just gonna pick up all the ammo that we can. We're gonna have to remember that we gotta make a move over to the safe zone. We're pretty close though, so we don't have to worry about it too much. Let's push this way. Second floor. Wait, did Noah just die? I think Noah might have just died. Feels bad, Noah. Feels bad. Oh yeah, we're really close to the same time. We're Gucci. I didn't even see what I grabbed there. Dude, all these white ARs, bro. Look for something slightly better. Come on, don't completely screw me over here. What's up, Brad? Oh, Delirious is down? Alright, good. So he can't kill us this time. He absolutely melted us in that one last game. It's a green one. Definitely take that. Might as well. Green's better than white, that's for sure. What's up, Beasting Dog? Oh, your Summit's down too? Oh no, there's a lot of good players dropping already. Sheesh. I'm not... Wow, really? I can't make that jump? That's lame. Alright, so I guess we should just move over to the other side now. Do that. Because I think there's still some stuff up here. We're gonna have so much ammo, dude. It's gonna be crazy. So that's upstairs there. Wait, is it down? I think it might actually be below me. Yeah, it is. Come on, dude. Are you freaking serious, mate? Mate. Okay. Imagine going through all this loot and we aren't even getting anything like crazy good. It's a shame. We'll stop right in here and we'll get a move on. Keep going. Nah, actually, I'm not gonna pick those up. Actually. This game sometimes. Actually, I should have done this. There we go. Dude, look at what we're getting right now, dude. This is Can't tell if this guy just went across the bridge or not. Yeah, he did. Might as well chase him. Wow, dude. Did not play that well. GG Vic. What's up, Dude Master? How you doing today, man? Feels sad. Feels sad. This is too much of a good game for it to be free. That's what kind of strikes me too, man. Are we allowed to play with you? This is a private server, man. Lol, GG. GG Vicstar. If I'm gonna get killed by anybody, might as well be Vicstar. What's up, Crazy Doggy? What's up, Tierra, and welcome to the stream. Dang it, man. Yeah. You got wrecked by Vic? Yeah. I wonder how much damage I did to him. How much damage did I do at all? I might have just taken off his shield. He might have had a full shield. Or at least part of his shield. What's up, Elijah? Haven't watched one of your streams in forever. Alright, well, since this was the last game, I might as well just go ahead and play some solos, I guess, right? Might as well. What's up, Sunspicy? What's up, Radic? I wonder who's going to win this game. Be interesting. What's up, Pablo? If you get a hold of him, you should do a stream with him. With Vic? Yeah, right. What's up, Reese? What's up, Pablo? I just got to get better at this game, that's all. Ooh. What's up, Pro? Yo, what's up, man? What's up, Hennis? What's up, Camden? He had 31 after? Oh, okay. It's close. 'Twas close. Hate those shotguns. But it is what it is. Hennis, do you remember you from last stream? Braylon Rosario. Yes, I do, man. I actually do remember you from last stream. Alright, what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and return to the lobby. Let me go ahead and type GG to Vicstar. Yo, GG at Vic. I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you guys want me to go into a solo match and start playing, or do you guys want me to keep watching this? Well, didn't know you were in the invitation. I just got to get killed by Vic. Yeah. What's up, Uwace? How you doing, man? Yo, so type 1 in the chat if you guys want me to go do solos right now. Just play some Fortnite on some regular, normal solo servers. Or type 2 in the chat if you want me to keep watching this. Type 1 to go do solos. Type 2 to keep watching this. What's up, Crazy Doggy? Why don't you play World War II more? I don't know, man. I've just really been enjoying playing some Fortnite. Have I ever played with Vic? No, I have not ever played with Vic. No. All right, I saw way more ones in the chat, so that's what we're going to go ahead and do. We're just going to go ahead and do some solos right now, guys. What's up, Mario? How you doing today, man? What's up, Louis? What's up, Ivan Hernandez? All right, let me go ahead and actually... I'm going to alt-tab out of here real quick. I'm going to go ahead and pull back up my music. I should just queue. Oh, actually, I got to take off... It won't matter now, I guess, if the... I think I just accidentally showed the code, but it won't matter now if the code gets leaked anyways. What's up, Daily? How you doing today, man? Chuki Beats. You're the same level. Hennis, I'll carry you if you let me do duos with you. Nah, man, I'm just going to play some solos right now. That would be perfect. Oh, they just got a live stream, too. It's nice. You can hear some fresh beats. Yo, what's up, Dylan? Some spicy. Matchmaking key is not supported. Switch back over. What's up, Lori Morgan? Is it NA Sniper, I think? Yeah. Yeah, that was the code. Love your vid. Shout out. Yo, what's up, Zane? How you doing today, Savage? Welcome to the stream. I do want to kind of polish my overlay here a little bit, kind of make it a little bit better. Do a 50v50? Nah, I'm just going to go ahead and do some solos right now. Zombie stream? Nah. What's up, Lori? Does anyone know who the player Sladrian is? I'm just trying to find his stream so I have more to watch. He's a Twitch streamer, Adrian. A-Y-D-R-E-N. Adrian. I think it's pronounced Adrian. Oh my god, that shot there. What's up, Daniel? What's up, Torn? What's up, Saucy? You just found me last night? Oh, yeah, when I was doing the 50v50. Yeah, I remember that. That was super fun. What's up, David? What's up, J1? Welcome to the stream. I'm just gonna get right out of Greasy Grove. By the way, I was playing with Dan TDM. Oh, Dan TDM was in this? Oh, really? That's awesome. That's pretty cool. Yo, James Moore came in with the $1 New Zealand donation. I appreciate that, James. Thank you very much for the love. Can we get a James spam in the chat? I would appreciate it very much, my guy. Thank you for the love, man. Yeah, you go over there. I'm gonna get right to this house, man. Oh, shoot. Are you kidding me? Literally nothing here, man. Are you kidding me? RIP that guy. Actually did some damage to me though. Guy down there too. Alright, let's pick up this. That's what I'm talking about with Bloom, guys. Is that a guy? Did I just see a guy break that? Already more kills in the whole tournament? Yep. Ooh. I don't know if that was the same guy or not. No bandages for real. Might as well pick that up. Actually, go ahead and pick that up too. Already more kills than the whole freaking tournament, man. Yeah, it's below. Check and see if there's anything out here, though. I think this is just an outside wall.
Good game, Henis.
Yo.
Sorry to see you die so fast, but
Nah.
it was hard.
Nah, it was...
I'm gonna go stream for a bit
I think
before
it
I
was
go
out.
to work later.
Alright, man. Yo, sounds
Good luck
good.
on the rest of your stream.
Thank you,
See
brother.
in
I
the
appreciate
next
that.
Invitational winking face.
Oh, it's further up. I'm stupid, dude. It's further up. I was like, what? I could have sworn I was hearing it below me, and that's what was freaking me out. And I was like, oh, it's probably like in that doghouse or whatever. But yo, thank you very much, Solution, for the 10. I really do appreciate that, man. You're an absolute god. Can we get a Solution spam in the chat, guys? Would appreciate it. Get rid of the other side of this. He's so weak, bro. Just jump down in there. Oh, shoot. Shoot. That shotgun shoots so slowly, man. Alright, P, what's up, Austin? Is this live? Yeah, this is a live stream, brother. What's up, Saucy? Do I stream daily? I try to, man, yeah. What's up, Lori? Welcome to the stream. When am I going to play BO3? I don't know, bro. It's been so long since I played BO3, though. What's up, Daniel? What's up, Aaron? Sheesh. Sheesh. What's up, the basket, dude? Welcome to the stream, my man. What's up, Aaron?
I have been subbed since.
I've been subbed since 80K. Yo, thank you very much, K2 Zombie, for the $2 super chat. I appreciate that. Let's get a K2 spam in the chat. I would appreciate it, man. Would appreciate it. What's up, Austin? I'm so jealous of Noah winning, man. That's so cool. Good for him. I'm more so jealous of the fact that that's just an awesome video he can make now. You can turn that into a stream. That's so freaking cool. See, they don't spam my name when two people did. I know it's Solution, bro. You donate so often. I've asked people to spam your name so many times. Yo, let's make sure we get a Solution spam too, guys. He donated 10 bucks. The dude's a freaking legend. We're gonna sneak up behind this guy who won't even see us coming. Yo, what's up, Error? It's like, why am I not dancing? What's up, Jacob? Let's get it, baby. Solution donate for spam name. You're a boss of the boss himself? No. What's up, Tornate? What's up, Shy Johnson? You guys will still be able to see my first game where I placed top 11. It was close. It was close. He had 1 kill. What do we have? 1 kill the whole tournament? Was it 1 or 2 kills? What's up, KRNGHenis? How you doing today? Should have practiced this game more. 'Tis all. So I finally get to start my coins? Hell yeah, Air. Hell yeah, dude. Let's just go to... I love Fatal Fields, dude. I love Fatal Fields. It's like my favorite place to land. Anybody who ever plays with me? Are you still playing against YouTubers? No, actually, Dugan. I'm on solos now. The invitation is officially over. The last game may be like finishing up now. It may still be finishing up, but nah, I died pretty early, so. You're down for everyone across the board, really? That's not good. Was that him? Are you freaking kidding me? This game sometimes. It's gotta be above, I'm guessing. Wait, what? Oh my god. Gotta jump at just the right angle.
You're my favorite YouTuber.
I seriously... Dude, what the frick, man? Guy literally died right out here. What? That didn't make any sense. What's the button to dance? On PC, it's B. What's good, Jonathan? How you doing, man? What's up, Corey? Yep. Baba Op says I suck. Dude, I don't get it. Peanut Man says LMAO is so boring. Peanut Man, I think Peanut Man legitimately hates me, yet he has the most coins. I don't get it. I genuinely think he's pissed at me. How you doing? Yo, Stacy, what's good? Welcome to the stream. What's up, Reapers? I donated again, K2 Zombie. Oh yeah, you did. You're my favorite YouTuber. I appreciate it too. I'm sorry I didn't even recognize that. Welcome to the stream, and thank you very much for thank you very much for the donation. Like, look at that. Those last 2 shots didn't hit. Obviously. I don't know if it's because it's spam or what. I'm level 47, get on my level. What's up, Sloggo? How you doing? Wait, who just won the last... Okay, so I think the last game just ended. Oh, OP just won. GG. GG. Been a while. Hope you're well, mate. Yeah, Corey, I'm doing awesome. Thank you very much for your dono. I appreciate it.
Been a while. Hope you are well, mate.
Yo, yeah, I'm doing pretty good, man. Thank you very much for the dono. I appreciate it. Someone said 15-inch Warriors and nuts. Yeah. Ask me why I'm going to Fatal Fields again. I couldn't tell you. Are you hyped for Black Ops 4? Dude, I'm so excited for the next Treyarch game, man. It's going to be awesome. Yo, see you later, Solution. Appreciate you coming by the stream, man. No problem at all, mate. Appreciate it. Where's your like, subscribe, and sponsor bars? I took those out because people were complaining that you couldn't see the kill feed with them on. And then it turns out that even with them taking off, you can't even see the kill feed, so people are still kind of pissed. Whenever you want to break me out of here. Are you freaking serious, man? I'm gonna get shot. I'm gonna get killed right here. No doubt. Just gonna run to the house, I guess. Actually, let's try to go to this. I don't know how I didn't just get shot in the back right there. Okay, we got a shotty. And now it's back here. Okay. Goes up for sure. Don't want to get rid of those. Alright, we're still at 96 health. Oh, that's a trap. Ha! Didn't even see it. Alright, you know what? I'm just gonna stop the stream right there, man. This is just freaking. This is just freaking terrible, man. What's up, Anton? What's up, crazy dog? Welcome to the stream. Alright, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get off. I'm ending the stream right there. It's just. You killed by a trap. Alright. I'm not even gonna do. Yeah, we're not gonna do a raid, guys. I'm just gonna go ahead and head off. I appreciate all the support, though. You guys were absolute legends. Make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe if you're new, have on post notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next one.